Hello everyone, welcome back to Ask a Scientist Gaming, where we combine mediocre gameplay with expert science. I'm Ken Hansen, Associate Professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at Florida State University. I'm a photochemist slash photophysicist, which means I shine light on molecules and then try to control that light energy and understand where that light energy goes, whether it be for solar cells or photomechanics or catalysis or whatever it may be. But more importantly, joining me today is Dr. Justin Riddle. Justin, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me today, Ken. This is a first for me, so very exciting to be here. I'm a assistant professor at Florida State University in the Department of Psychology. I am interested in the neural basis of cognitive control and how cognitive control gets disrupted in psychiatric illness. I use functional magnetic resonance imaging. I do EEG, but I think most exciting, I do a lot of brain stimulation. So I'm kind of a brain stimulation buff, electrical magnetic stimulation in humans. So yeah.
Awesome.
Fun times.
What do you typically teach?
I teach a class on brain and behavior right now. It's fun. It's like an introductory, psychology class. I kind of feel like Bill Nye the Science Guy, like, hey kids, the brain is really cool and there's all this interesting things happening.
Yeah.
And it's 8 a.m., but wake up.
God, that's cruel.
Yeah, I got saddled with 8 a.m.
That's what I teach too, Gen Chem at 8 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Terrible choice. Yeah. But equally important, what game are we starting with?
All right, we're starting with some Halo 2.
A little bit of Master Chief.
Yeah, well, some Master Chief. It's been a minute since I played, but I went really hard on Halo 2 in junior high.
Yeah.
Trying to climb the competitive ladder online, which I was not that good at, but,
You tried.
But I tried.
That's the point.
I gave it the shot.
Yeah. All right.
All right, we launching in?
Yeah, we're
okay.
in.
Well.
All right, you guys will have to tell me if the volume's too loud. We're switching through several systems tonight.
All right, I'm going to try to, talk and kill these.
Well, you can...
The Covenant!
Take some time to settle in.
How do I punch again? Alrighty. Look at
Coming back in the feel.
Yeah, I'm remembering.
So Halo 1 was my game of choice, but I was a freshman in college when that came out. And so Halo 2... Halo 2, I looked it up. It's 2004. But
yeah, that checks out. 14-year-old me.
You're really into it?
Very into it.
But it's been a while. It's been a...
Yeah, I play the campaign mode with my little brother every now and then,
That's awesome.
Just like on holidays. I feel like I'm lost right now. Where am I supposed to go?
One of the things I like about the early Halos is it was, fairly linear, right? If you're finding someone, you're going the right direction.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, and then Halo 2 had the, online platform.
Yep.
So I feel like that was just, one of the first times doing the online.
Yeah.
So I turned on the Grunt's birthday brain blow up.
That's awesome.
So that's the classic.
Yeah.
As far as I remember.
So are you familiar with the Halo 2 lasso challenge?
No, what is that?
It was all skulls on.
Oh, okay, I did hear about that.
Trying to beat it deathless, and they did it.
Oh God.
It was 6 months ago. So
someone actually just pulled
did it.
That off.
All of them, all skulls on except for the invisibility one. And you have to do
Wait, what's invisibility?
It's where you have invisibility.
Oh, because that's too easy.
Exactly. So you had to do it deathless with all the skulls on.
Okay, I tried that a little bit, but
okay.
I mean, I didn't do full deathless, but I did think it was cool when you take off the HUD. You
have no reticle.
Because then you kind of feel like, oh, I'm really there, ish.
But yeah, he did it. There was a $10,000 challenge. He won it after 20 years. Just kind of crazy. Needless to say, we will not be pulling out Lasso tonight, ladies. So all you true gamers, avert your eyes. We're going to play
a couple of noobs here.
Birthday party explosion.
Level 3.
I like it, though. Anyone not familiar, Halo 2, I don't know if you remember the release of this, but it was huge. Of the compendium of sequel games, you have Mario 2, you have Zelda 2, and then you have Halo 2, which was... wait in line for days to get a copy of this game.
Oh, back in the Best Buy days.
Yeah, exactly. Back when, you had to actually be there at midnight to get the game. Yeah, Halo 1 was my go-to, and did you ever play Halo 1?
Yeah, I played Halo 1 a bit, but yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel like it didn't have online, you
Yep.
know? So it was like,
Yeah.
I played with like my one friend a million times until we played every level to death, and then it was like,
So,
okay, we need something new.
so there was like Xbox Connect like things that you could do, like third-party networking stuff. But what worked out for me is I was, a freshman in college, and the dorm network you could play networked.
Oh,
you didn't have to be
okay,
local, so
okay.
you
Some
could-
LAN party.
Exactly. It was just a giant LAN party of the dorms. And so everyone could get on there and you'd have 16-player games, which is really awesome back in the day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Back when 16 players was like, oh my god. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
That was amazing.
You just need a bunch of wires.
and screen watching.
Oh my god, screen watching. I remember people getting mad about screen watching.
Yep.
And it was just like, actually, this is a acceptable strategy.
I mean, so they still get mad about it, but now it's called stream sniping, right? Where you watch a Twitch stream.
Where you're like online. And
Yeah.
then you're
So if
watching.
we were online, somebody was watching this and they wanted to destroy you, they could cheat directly watching your gameplay.
Okay, that's pretty brutal.
There's been a lot of controversy.
I draw a
on Twitch.
line. No.
You gotta have standards here. All right, Justin, you've settled in a little bit. You've
All
killed a
right.
whole bunch of runts and a few elites, so I think you're comfortable. You're ready to open up with
Let's
questions.
get down to business here.
There was a
the
question from the
science.
audience, a quick one. Not indiv. Would you consider trying World of Warships? I don't know what World of Warships is. Are you
Yeah, I've
familiar?
never heard of this.
Or is this
but,
World of Warcraft? Because that I have played.
Now with warships.
Yeah, so the only game I force my guests to play is NARC at the end of the night. Other than that, they get to pick the games. And so, yeah, can suggest them. But Justin, we'll start with a simple
Nice.
one. I mean, very few of us knew what we wanted to do at 6 years old, right? There's a winding path that took us to where we are today. What was your winding path, and what were the particular, like, in retrospect, those key moments that fork in the road one way took you towards where you are?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah. I think for me, like freshman year of undergrad, I took actually like a brain and behavior, but it was called like brain mind behavior course. This was at Berkeley, and the professor was just super wild and interesting, and like started off with like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I was always kind of a existential kid, and for me it was realizing you could study consciousness, and it was like I never really considered that the human mind was something you could like actually study, and that there were people like really studying it, and so
making a living.
yeah, making
Getting
a
paid to
living
do
off
it.
of thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got really into like philosophy of mind, theory of mind, and then cognitive neuroscience was kind of a realization of, hey, if I want to study this in practice, the word consciousness is a little vague, and so we got to like do an experiment, and we got to collect some data. So cog neuro is kind of like an extension of that.
So that class, was that an elective or you just for fun? What was your major? Did you know?
Oh my god, I was so undeclared. I thought I was gonna like be like a film major or something.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I got kind of into like amateur filmmaking stuff, but I also loved math because I was a nerd. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do math. And then I had like my dad in my ear, like, make money, kid. So I was like, oh, I could do business or those money making majors. But then, just realizing that, there was like a study of consciousness kind of lit a fire in me. And then in my major, I was forced to do some computer science classes, and those really got me going because, I just love puzzles, and felt like computer science was like the ultimate puzzle. And then did a double in comp sci. Yeah.
Like it. And then grad school, choice between getting a job and continuing school.
Yeah. So I like stayed at my undergrad institution, so it was like really fun just to kind of stay local, keep a friend group. Berkeley has this weird program where, as an undergrad, you could create classes and actually teach courses. So I was teaching this like wacky quantum consciousness course which was really fun. So I got to like keep doing that, and I really loved the lab I was like volunteering in, and so yeah, it was a good fit. It was just like natural fit, and then I just really loved it, and I went the full distance. I like had some moments where it's like, okay, maybe I'll try out like neurotech, and the Bay Area has all these like meetups, and there was like consciousness hackers, and you meet up with a bunch of like tech nerds, and you're trying to program your own EEG devices, and it's like real like renegade, but a bunch of dreamers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in the dreamer scene.
Yeah.
I almost got sucked into neurotech, but then it was like I feel like the technology is really premature right now, and it's just not quite there yet. So
Well, that's what I tell my students. If you're going to get an implant to control a computer or mouse, get the second generation. Because if the first generation bricks, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Hacking in a garage, I just don't trust it,
Yeah, I hear it. I think there's some exceptions to that rule with like, deep brain stimulators for various like conditions, so it's like if you were suffering some pretty severe like neurodegenerative disorder and you could get a brain implant, then I think the equation changes a little bit. It's not like I'm trying to control my mouse and get an extra 10 milliseconds of reaction time, but okay, I actually want to like maintain my memories and my ability to control my body, and then it's like, okay, I'll try out the brain implant. But I really do think it is like kind of the future of the technology around the corner. But
so when you say around the corner, no pressure, but if you had to put a year on it, when's the first commercially available brain implant?
Oh man.
No pressure.
Like for funsies.
Go to Best Buy, pick it up, get it.
Like I don't need this, but I want it.
Well, that will be the first gen, right? Well, I guess they'll try it for medical conditions first, obviously.
Oh yeah, and they already have those. Like you can get, like if you get Parkinson's disease, or you can get. And epilepsy is a big one right now.
And I mean, there's some push for like prosthetics too, right? Controlling that.
True. There was this wild study out of, I think it was like this group at Stanford, but like I think it was ALS, like this person who couldn't really speak, and they were like doing this neural decoder, and I mean, it's like a tragic situation. So you're just like down to try things out, to regain your quality of life. But okay, so like if I'm gonna get an implant for funsies though, I don't know, like 30 years at minimum.
30 years.
Jeez.
It's within our lifetime.
Within our lifetime.
I'll take that.
No, I always tell my wife, I'm like, we're going in the pods. So,
we're going in the pods.
I'm like, don't worry, we're going in the pods. Like, you don't have to be scared of dying.
It wasn't a question. It was a statement. We're going in the pods.
I know. And then we have this running joke where she's like, roll me out of the pod.
That's awesome.
I'm like, but she's going in the pod.
Brief detour. I want everyone to know how hyped everyone was. The Covenant Sniper, your backup weapon right now, like that.
Oh,
blew people's minds, because like the first Halo, you only got the human sniper.
You mean historically?
Yeah, because you get two shots, right, and you have to reload. But this one was pacing based. It changed gameplay a lot.
I feel you.
Yeah. Anyway, so after grad school, you did a postdoc. Or is that not common in your area?
Oh no, it's super common.
Okay.
Yeah, the struggle is real. So I did a postdoc at UNC Chapel Hill.
Oh wow, me too.
That was fun. Wait, really?
Yeah, that's where I postdoc, 2010 to 2013.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. I was 2013 to 2018, so we high-fived on the way out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. I switched to a psychiatry department. So I'm like, traditionally just like a psychology department, but not that kind of psychology, we just like try to understand how cognition works.
Yeah.
But then, I felt like, are we really going to understand the brain in the immediate future? Like maybe not to the degree of precision that could really change the world, but we could potentially build interesting, devices and stimulation interventions So yeah, psychiatry kind of felt like a puzzle and like an application to be figuring out. And I think it's just like I've been reflecting on this a lot lately. Feel like psychiatry is like the final frontier of like cognitive neuroscience, because it's really mysterious, like just how psychiatric illness is like present in the brain, and it's not exactly clear like exactly what psychiatric illness like even is on some level, you know?
It's not something you get to cut out.
It seems hard to like localize quick and easy into like, oh, this is the brain region where this problem is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like a open mystery, you know? So that that's been like appealing to me.
I mean, so along those lines, I mean, you do experimentation on people. There's this blurring line between like biology and psychology, and in the middle is neurosciences, and you guys work together. Like, is that boundary getting, I mean, you go back to, Freud, where it was just top level analysis. That's what psychology used to be. And then is the Venn diagram just converging? Is that...
Yeah, I think it's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, for a while there was a lot of stuff you could like only do in animal research, and nowadays the gap is shrinking. And there's certain situations like with people that are getting intervention for epilepsy, where they have like quote unquote intractable epilepsy that's not responding to medications. What they do is they do like brain surgery, where they're trying to localize the source of the seizure and either resect a part of the brain, or nowadays they usually put in deep brain stimulators, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But there's this window of time of like a week or so while these patients are implanted, and you can record directly from the human brain. And this is like not quite at the level of, control that you'd have like with animal research. But it is like a level of, I don't know, insight into how the brain works that we typically don't have access to. So, the gap is shrinking. Of course, the animal research tools are like also expanding. Like optogenetics is so freaking cool, which is where you're like...
Optogenetics.
Okay, yeah. So you genetically like get certain neurons to express these light sensitive proteins.
Yeah. You can turn on,
and then you turn on or off neurons with light. I mean, that is like frankly wild. That is like totally unreal. So while we're kind of catching up to animal research from the 80s or something, they're off in the actual 2020s. But yeah, I think the pros of human research is you can do really advanced higher order cognition, so like you don't have to train the person on a task. You just give them some instructions like, hey, you're gonna think about this and then push this button when this happens, and if you see this, do that. And people can pick up on like very complicated tasks quite quickly, and so you can study like some pretty fun things. So yeah, I'm like a huge fan of experimental science, where you're delivering brain stim in healthy people and seeing what happens, trying to change people's cognition. It just, to me, it feels like real kind of like mad science. Like you're really doing science. We're not just correlating things. We're like seeing if we actually have any control over the brain or over cognition. Like, okay, we think it works this way, but we don't really know until we actually stimulate the brain and it like does something that we predicted that it was going to do.
I mean, like you're uniquely positioned to poke the brain without opening the skull, right? Like it's just like it is intriguing at its heart. I mean,
yeah, totally.
I mean, so if you had to, like, we don't fully understand how thought and function works, but if you had to walk the general viewer through, I touch something hot and there's a signaling pathway that goes through my neurons to my brain, and then the thought comes out and it says, ow. Like, can you walk that cradle to the grave on like the, I don't know, cellular level? Maybe not in great detail, but...
So here I can mention like the standard model, and then I can mention what I think is kind of the cool future thing that I'm
awesome.
focusing on. So yeah, the standard model is, there's neurons, there's chemical synapses. These are like cells that can generate electrical potentials and then release a chemical on the next neuron, and that chemical generates an electrical potential. And there's kind of this, this computation going as you try to synthesize these different chemical inputs, and then you fire, meaning you like generate some response, or you don't fire, meaning you don't generate a response. And it's a really cool, electrical system. Okay, but then where I come in and what I'm interested in is there's this idea that, neurons are the gold standard of how brain activity is meaningfully contributing to cognition, right? And this is like, sort of the standard opinion. However, there's these real macro scale electrical potentials that you can find in the brain. And a big question is, does this more like macro scale, macroscopic electrical fluctuation activity, does this do anything? And so the traditional thinking is like, oh, this just like arises from neurons, but I'm about to blow up. This arises from neurons, but it doesn't really like do anything. But recently we've been, diving into more detail here, and we've been discovering that, there's kind of this weird, complicated feedback loop where, neurons generate electrical activity, but then that electrical activity then changes and modulates neurons. So there's kind of like a circularity here. And we think neurons are important, but if we change this macro scale electrical activity, we see changes in cognition, we see changes in neural activity. And so it's kind of like a problem of the level of your analysis, right? So you could analyze something at a micro scale of a neuron, but then you could also zoom into the neuron, and you might say, well, hey, the neuron is just an emergent property of these synaptic potentials. And these synaptic potentials are just emergent properties of these like receptors activating. And the receptors activating are like an emergent property of these more low-level molecules, and then we're like down at the chemistry level, and then we're you studying chemistry, right? But now we've kind of lost the plot on studying the brain.
Like microscopic.
So it's like there's kind of a reductionist bias of smaller is better. But then if smaller is strictly better, then we should all be chemists, or we should all be, particle physicists. And then there's no point in studying the brain. So I think there's like a lot of value at all these different scales, or at many scales. And so what I study is this more macro scale and interfacing with what's called neural oscillations, like these electrical fluctuations at the scale of entire brain regions, populations of hundreds of thousands of neurons. And, if you were to think a thought and then ask yourself, where in the brain is this thought? What's the neural correlate of this thought that I just had? At a level of time scale, the thought is pretty slow, right? Like, oh, I'm thinking a thought, and then I'm having another thought. Oh, should I do this or should I do that? Right? Like, we think at a pretty slow scale, and yet neurons are super freaking fast. And so how do you bridge across all these different spatial, temporal scales? And so, a lot of my work is, one, just justifying the slow scale as like worth studying and quote unquote doing something. But then also looking at how there's information transfer across spatial and temporal scales, where you have kind of a whole, region of the brain talking to a more localized part of the brain. And so, there's different ways of if you look in the electrical activity of the brain, you see a lot of low frequency activity that seems to correlate with cognition. But you also see it coupling with seemingly faster, smaller systems. This is called like cross frequency coupling across many different scales in the brain. So
I mean,
Anyways, it's pretty rambly, but you know.
no, it's intriguing to hear because this idea that you can know how a neuron functions, right? And you can put two of them together, and we understand that. And you're describing a scenario where you generate a localized electric field that should impact the neurons within that environment. And for me as a chemist, I don't know if you're familiar with this push for quantum information sciences, but like
Nice.
you get this
Yeah.
superposition of states, and you don't just get a up or a down, you get all the states simultaneously, and you can do all sorts of elegant calculations. But part of that quantum computing, or a tangent of that, is something called quantum sensing. So this idea that you have a superposition of states and you have a localized influence, and if you have a 50-50 event, any localized influence will sway it one way or the other, which it sounds like you're describing that scenario, right? Where this local field, even if it's small, is enough to influence outcomes. And so that's
totally
exciting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, I'm such like a like like quantum mechanics enthusiast.
Yeah.
I don't like study it formally, but yeah, I wish for the day, and I've been following the quantum computer trends to some first degree, and there is this there is some domain of people trying to study like quantum information principles in cognition. So this isn't like a mechanical, like physiological thing, but it's saying like, what is human rationality? And there's certain like things that humans do which seem potentially irrational, but is it just like a different form of rationality than we're used to? So maybe there's like quantum logic that people are following. And I don't know. It's fun to think about.
One of my favorite recent examples of that was when they were figuring out why birds can detect north and south.
Yeah, the avian magnetic field sensing, right?
It's quantum sensing, right? It's quantum information.
The free radicals in the retina.
Exactly. And it's just the localized field was enough, even though it's tiny, is enough to matter. So like,
so that you're right. That would be like the ultimate magnification of scale, right?
Yeah.
From like the real micro to the macro.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if you generate. I mean, you stimulate a region of the brain. I don't know what kind of voltage or amperage you're working with, but
we use a milliamp in when we do electrical stim, but then our magnetic stim is upwards of like 3 Tesla range.
That's a lot relative to the Earth. That's like
it's 40,000 times.
Yeah, like that's an intense field, and birds are already panicking when it's wrong.
Yeah, we should get one of these birds and shoot some magnetic pulses in the air. And they're like, what the heck's going on? I wonder if they like drive past an MRI scanner and they're just like, oh my god,
nothing.
I found the pole.
Like I did it. I won migration.
Yeah. The North Pole.
That's amazing.
Oh, my first dad.
All right. You had a good run.
I had a good run,
that was pretty solid. Cuddle puppy. Non-invasive brain stimulation. I see you're not trying to get a job at Neuralink. Do you want to vocalize your opinions on Neuralink and their...
oh my god, let's talk about Neuralink.
Let's do it. Cuddle puppy's interested.
Cuddle puppy. Yeah, I was really seriously considering Neuralink. Not Neuralink, but like that was not around when I was in this decision phase, but I was checking out the field and the companies in the space. I volunteered at or like did some consulting for a neurotech company. And it was cool. It was great. It helped me get through grad school a little bit.
Wait, that doesn't stun the vehicles on this?
It should remove the shield or something, but
yeah.
So Neuralink is interesting because they're doing like legit neuroscience. However, they're kind of marketing it as like no one's ever done this before, and this is the first time we've recorded from the brain, and they are like building off of existing technologies,
like decades
and decades. But they're throwing like, I don't know, the Musk infrastructure of like, we need to fly to Mars right now or whatever. So it is kind of interesting to see like if they could, I don't know, like develop the technology at a more rapid pace. And like, it seems like they are having some like iterative, incremental advantages from technologies prior to it, So it feels like they really are pushing the space forward. And deep brain stimulation is getting much more common in epilepsy. It's getting much more common in Parkinson's disease. Like there's a growing number of applications, And I don't think everyone's like fully aware of just, I don't know, just how common it is. Like if you're like an older individual and you're facing some neurodegenerative disorders, like you'll probably get the option to get a deep brain stimulator.
Yeah, and it works really well.
Yeah, and it works. So yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea behind Neuralink, and I think one thing that gets lost is it's not like Elon Musk is doing this research. Like, they're legitimate neuroscientists doing their work. But
yeah, he's just like noticing a trend, and I think he's noticing a real trend, which is, hey, like deep brain stimulators are kind of everywhere now.
Yeah.
But they're not like quite as much everywhere that there's like a name brand in your home where you're like, oh yes, I've got the. Yeah, I don't even know. Got the Medtronic, or I'm trying to think of other deep brain stimulation companies. But yeah, they're not like as name brand right now. And so I don't know. I think he's trying to carve out that space. So
I mean, one of the concerns.
As a neuroscience enthusiast, I gotta be happy when money's going towards it.
Cuddle puppy. Thousands of monkeys died to give us this technology. Like, they don't have the same IRB boundaries that, say, our institution would. Right? They're playing a little fast and loose with those rules, is my understanding. Or
maybe, but I mean,
question, I guess.
I think what's wild is, I mean, there's a lot of people doing deep brain stimulation, and most institutional review boards are going to have systems in place to approve research like this. So like they implanted in humans, but they did it in a population that is frequently implanted in humans for this exact indication with very similar devices. So, I mean, they're really not breaking ground really at all. So when it was like, oh, they got approval to do this, it's like, yeah, so does like pretty much every major university for something. And it would have to be like it would have to be a hospital, right? Like you can't do this at a university, but like a school of medicine.
Yeah.
If you're an MD, you're in like a neurology department, you're seeing epilepsy patients, like you're doing this stuff anyway. So it's not like I think he's bringing it to the mainstream where people are like, oh my God, what are they doing now? And I think it's a little bit of people not knowing. Yeah. Like, hey, yeah, we actually are doing this like quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think it's important research because, it's easy to say like, oh, I would never do this. And it's like, okay, well, if you got Alzheimer's disease and you're like starting to forget, who your kids' names, I mean, oh my God, I think a lot of us would start thinking about, alternative options.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyways, it's a little bit of a soapbox.
No.
But
it makes sense. You're gonna break some eggs on the way, and you do it as morally as you can, and hopefully they're following those rules.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know like the Neuralink in particular too well, but yeah, I mean, there's ethical boards that have spent a lot of time thinking about this, and it's like they're not approving like random normal people to get this the garage
research. No,
this is people where it's typically life or death / like major drop in quality of life to a point where maybe these people might develop psychiatric illness because they're such a disruption to their life that they're willing to I don't know, do things drastic. So I think there's like I think it's important.
All right, JTP23 FSU wants to know. FSU,
hey,
welcome.
FSU,
hello. Do you think that targeted electromagnetic radiation could be used to promote or suppress activity in various regions of the brain?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I do every day, I guess. Yeah. So I can like describe the rationale a little bit. So there's two major forms of brain stimulation out there. There's electrical and magnetic brain stimulation. Both of them, we typically think of the impact as what it does in terms of the electric field. But, there's a magnetic field component to all of this. And then we don't really call it radiation because it's more like a current that we're applying. Radiation, I guess, kind of gives the implication that it's kind of just coming out randomly out of something on accident to some degree. But anyway, so electrical stimulation, we basically apply electrical current to the scalp, and then it passes through the skull, enters into the brain. It's a very weak form of stimulation. It kind of just changes the firing probabilities of neurons. And the way that we...
So you framed that very disingenuous. Firing probabilities means you change thought, right? Like
Yeah, so basically we're changing your thought.
Yeah,
We're
like
changing your thought.
change a thought process.
But we're not changing the content of thought, I
but
would
the
say.
mechanism, yeah.
It's more like the mode of thinking or something, Maybe that's more like, you're in like, I'm thinking in this domain versus this other domain. Yeah, the magnetic stimulation is more powerful, so we do briefer kind of trains of pulses. So pros and cons to both. Magnetic stimulation, right now it's being used as like a treatment for depression, so it has FDA approval for depression treatment.
Wow.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, get this. So I'm from the Bay Area, like I lived there for 10 years. There are so many like private TMS, like transcranial magnetic brain stimulation clinics. It's unreal. I have a friend there that I was chatting with like last week, and he said at his gym, you can go to the gym and they will stimulate your brain at the gym, like get you hyped for your workout.
Yeah.
I think there's like no science behind that level.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like the
fun.
oxygen bar shit, right? Where it's just just someone applying a technology but not doing it in a directed way, right?
Yeah, that feels that. I mean, I don't think it's like quote unquote sketchy, but it just feels like really imprecise and probably they're not doing what they think they're doing. Yeah.
Snake oil, like
snake oil.
Sell the snake oil.
But what's more snake oil is correlation-based findings, where you're not you're not testing your theories by stimulating the brain.
Yeah.
To see if your theory's real.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek there, but
yeah. Careful who's watching.
Careful who's watching. Like those damn. No, I'm just kidding.
So magnetic stimulation, you're doing like 3 Tesla. Presumably you have an electromagnet of some kind. You like sit someone down between 2 poles and.
Well, yeah. So it's just a little like plastic device you place on the scalp, and the kind of analogy I give people, which is from kind of like modern culture right now, is those MagSafe chargers, where it's like it's a coil that you pump current through. It gets converted into a magnetic field, and then it gets converted back into electricity in your phone. That is basically the same mechanism, where there is these figure-8 coils. We pump high voltage current through it very briefly, generates a magnetic field out of it, and then that gets converted back into
nice shot. That was good. That was beautiful.
And then that gets converted back into electricity inside the brain. So yeah, that is the
so at FSU, you're uniquely positioned next to the Mag Lab. Have you thought about proposing like 21 Tesla or hitting the real fields? And I mean, they've floated frogs before, right? Like how much?
Yeah, those I do not think are human safe. Yeah, when then you like magnetize the frog, so like the frog, like you can stick like a paperclip to it afterwards.
Yeah. You align the poles.
So basically, okay, I forgot to kind of mention this. We calibrate the magnetic stimulator to roughly match the kind of natural levels of the brain. So while it sounds like completely absurd to be magnetically stimulating your brain, your brain is electrical in the first place. And so as bizarre as it sounds, like we're not doing anything like that unusual from the brain's perspective, where, hey, it has electric fields endogenously, naturally.
Yeah.
We're stimulating the brain. We're trying to kind of like mimic what is naturally occurring. We sort of know that the more that the brain stimulation is, emulating or mimicking the natural patterns, is when we get like the most successful changes in cognition, right? Where we can kind of like enhance your memory function or get your cognitive control slightly better.
So it's not even like designed to operate at those fields. It doesn't even like function anymore.
Or like the MagSafe 21 Tesla thing?
Yeah, if you go huge fields.
I was actually looking this up, I think today or yesterday, because I think the Mag Lab does human research.
Yeah. They'll do,
but I don't understand how they do that. I don't know. When I get in the 3 Tesla magnet, I can feel it. I'm just kind of like a sensitive person, but I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting dizzy in here.
That's intense.
So yeah, I can only imagine 21
Yeah.
Tesla. You're like entering into like a
Just
alien planet of electromagnetism.
you start
Like, what the
migrating
heck?
north, like
Yeah, you're like, oh wait, I think I can see magnetic fields. There's a latent ability in my retina.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, we should do one of our predictions. We're 40 minutes in, so which one are you excited about asking?
We just go from the top. I kind of did it consecutively.
Okay, you have a journey. All right.
Like, yeah, in the journey wise.
All right, let's do it.
Where am I supposed to drive this warthog? My goodness.
I do not remember this game.
Oh, they gave me a little arrow. Thank goodness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those of you not familiar with the stream, welcome to the stream. First of all, thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Dr. Justin Riddle. He's an expert in electrical activity in the brain and doing non-invasive stimulation and understanding how all those electrical signals result in cognitive decision-making and things like that. But on our stream, we do something called predictions, and predictions are available on all Twitch streams. Usually they're video game predictions, like will Justin beat this level without dying? But in our case, we do science questions. So I make every one of my guests write 5 to 7 science-related questions with 2 answer options, and we put those up as predictions. And so you guys are going to have 2 minutes to answer a question we're going to put up, and what you're going to gamble on these questions is what we call standard internet units. They're imaginary internet units points particular to our channel. They're useless for anything outside this channel, but they are useful for making us, take a drink, or you can request a factoid or unlock emotes. So you want internet points. Not only that, but you have pride in answering these questions. So
You want internet points.
exactly. That's how they do it, right? They're tapping into the gambling addiction, right? The release, the serotonin. Feed me that sweet chemical. But anyway, we're going to put up a prediction right now. If you guys aren't following us, click the follow button. You get 300 standard internet units. You also help with our numbers and our visibility and get notifications about future streams. All right, spiel done. I'm putting up the prediction right now. At the top of your chat, you'll see a predict button. Click that predict button and it will let you pick one of these 2 answers. Neurons talk via chemical transmission. Is that mostly true or mostly false? And so a little bit blurry on the boundaries here because we're saying mostly, but I think it's safe to say one of these answers is definitely
It is definitely
correct.
Mostly true.
Yeah. So put your predictions in there right now. Note that you get to pick however many internet points you want to bet on a given question. So this is, if you're high confidence, bet a lot. If not high confidence, bet a little. They're imaginary internet units and don't matter, so bet whatever the heck you want. None of it matters. With that said, you are on Ask a Scientist Gaming honor policy, so you cannot use Google or ChatGPT or whatever to look up the answer. Make your decisions accordingly.
All right.
The
All
spiel.
right. Good spiel. You got a good spiel. Yeah, and I will say for my research, I study like reward-based decision making, and I offered people imaginary fake points. And yeah, my research team was like, "Wait, are we actually paying them this money?" I was like, "No. People just do things for points all the time,
This is why gaming works, right?
Sometimes points are all you need.
Yeah. It's intense too because they can be meaningless, but it changes the outcome, it changes the motivation. Video game theory, psychology of video gaming is an intriguing exercise, especially with cell phone gaming. I have a buddy that worked in that domain, and it was like, you need the game to be hard enough that they want to, they're challenged, but easy enough that they can complete things. And there's like learning algorithms to respond, and like just enough where if you pay $1, all of a sudden it's slightly easier. Like they know us.
So true.
Yeah. They know us, and we're
the flow state of
exactly.
the gamble instinct.
All right, you guys have 15 seconds. Put your decisions in there now. Is neurons talk via chemical transmission? Is that mostly true or mostly false? All right, Justin, what is the answer?
Well, I might have led you astray with all this chat about the importance of electric fields. It is a bit up in the air. So, I think no matter what you guessed, you were mostly right. But I went with mostly true. I probably should have said true or mostly true because, the status quo thinking is, it's all about chemicals. When we think about drugs and taking medications, we think about the mechanism of action chemically. So, I will say, it's like mostly true, but there is a emerging and very important component, which is the electrical activity in your brain. So, maybe people are pissed in the chat there. But
Congratulations, Happy Money, for your 56-1 payout. They went the dark horse on this case. Mostly true is correct. And so that's that's pretty well understood for normal, just as two neurons. You have a synaptic interface and chemical signaling. You add more chemicals, signal goes up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that the... That's
that's more or less the rationale. And like, I think another subcomponent of this question here is that, I think, and research suggests that there is a additional level to what the brain is doing above the neurons. And maybe it's emergent from neurons, but it is kind of its own signaling. And that is the level of entire brain regions, And maybe these brain regions aren't just like emergent properties of neurons, but they actually are kind of doing something in and of themselves, So neurons communicate mostly chemically, but maybe brain regions communicate mostly electrically. You know what I mean? So that was the hidden...
mostly.
the hidden gem in there.
I like it. I mean, it's similar to, genetics versus epigenetics, and the like shape of the DNA matters and things like that. So I'm all about it. I'm all about macroscopic properties that aren't from the individual components alone.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's a growing appreciation that, if we're going to criticize a brain region for being an emergent property, like why aren't we criticizing a neuron for being an emergent property? And why aren't we criticizing proteins for being emergent properties? And, it just kind of, it's a never-ending regression into the tiniest levels.
So Happy Money has used their internet points wisely and has requested for us to take a drink. So Justin, cheers. Thank you for joining me. Happy Money. Hopefully you have a drink in hand. I realize it's a Wednesday night and somebody has class tomorrow, but I don't teach tomorrow, so we're hanging out.
Nice.
But cheers, Happy Money. Thank you for spending your internet points on making us drink.
Nice. Yeah, I did a finish your drink. So I'm going to pour another.
Yeah, let's do it.
I cannot kill this scorpion here. My goodness.
So we're drinking some Bullet. How do you pronounce it?
Some Bullet bourbon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
it's
good.
a fave of mine. Oh. It's the go-to. Trying to branch out into more high-class bourbon, quote unquote, but man, can't get over this. Can't get over the Bullet.
Well, so at some point I transitioned from beer to harder alcohol just because of the water weight, and I just got sick of like how much you have to drink, and then transitioned to bourbon and scotch. And
I feel like it just happens with age. Like I never understood that, and then now that I'm like an old guy, it just kicks in. You're like, I feel like I'm into bourbon now. And it almost feels like a trope or something, but...
Cuddle Puppy called us out. We all know that's just Everclear with caramel food coloring.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can't afford it, or because we're so...
Oh my God, Everclear, my lands. Because we're going real hard tonight.
Exactly. Do you teach tomorrow?
I'm not teaching this semester.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Is that like pre-tenure release kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm like a first-year assistant professor, so they're easing us into the burden.
Nice. So you didn't have to teach last semester either?
I taught last semester, so I'm at the one per year, and then 2 per year, and then 3 per year.
That makes sense.
They like slowly ramp you up here.
I mean, it's similar to what we do in chemistry, because that first semester you've like ordered stuff and you don't even have a lab yet, right? So presumably you got...
Yeah, it took a while to get going. I am up and running though.
Nice.
I got some data collection. We're still trying to build up. Oh my God, I'm so dead.
Yep.
Oh! How am I supposed to kill this thing? But anyway.
So what equipment-wise do you order then? Like, what do you have in-house? What's your tools of choice?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so the big purchases were a couple EEGs.
Mm-hmm. So that's the electroencephalogram.
Electroencephalography.
Yeah.
Yes, nailed it. It measures electrical activity in the brain.
Okay. So that's
cool.
It's like an electromagnetic sensor hooked up to a voltmeter, or it's
yeah, essentially it's hooked up to an amplifier. It's pretty like low amplitude signaling, so you got to boost it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I use what's called like high density or high definition, where you have 96 channels on the head, so a lot of time gelling it up and getting the connection with the scalp.
I mean, so you're spatially mapping that then? Like you see the different regions and...
Yeah, I get some pretty beautiful topographies or topologies where, there's like different brain rhythms. And so I do like lateralized visual presentations, and then you see, the visual area on the left versus the visual area on the right. And I'm doing like bimanual motor tasks, so you can see like beta oscillations on the left versus the right. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I do like some functional connectivity in like electrical space. So are the brain rhythms like coherent with each other? And so you drop a seed in one place and you look at the connection to other parts of the scalp. So it's kind of like the emerging gold standard if you're like a cogneuro person.
So out of curiosity, how much is it for someone to buy an EEG?
Oh, yes.
Like you want the Cadillac of EEGs.
Well, I got it. I found this. Mine were 50,000 a piece,
Okay.
and then for like a headset, it's like 10,000, and we have like a few of those. So, yeah, I bought 2 of those, and then but the company I was gonna go with, they were 120,000 a piece. So I found a company that was pretty much half price. So that was a pleasant surprise.
So get 2.
Yeah, so I got 2, exactly. I bought 2 of them.
That's awesome.
And then, then I also have a magnetic brain stimulator. So that is, transcranial magnetic stimulation. And that comes with a 3D neuro navigation device. So that one was a chunk of change as well. And then I got the electrical stimulation device, which... it's like the cheapest of the 3. So yeah, now I'm fully up and running. I got
That's
2
awesome.
experimental rooms going, and I can do all the toys, like the MRI budget. So we're doing some MRI scans.
I was going to ask. So functional MRI, you use a local MRI company, or how does that work?
So FSU has a MRI in the College of Medicine.
Oh, nice.
So we pay per hour to access. To access their MRI, and we can run sessions as needed. So I'm primarily doing EEG, mostly because it's like a lot cheaper to do, and also because I'm really interested in neural oscillations. But what I use MRI for is like localizing specific circuits in the brain, so it kind of helps us guide the stimulator to know where we want to target. It also helps with like electric field modeling, so people have different like tissue densities and probabilities of different conductivity in their skull and skin. So we can model like how much current is actually making it into the brain. So that's also an important use there.
Yeah.
Then I do stimulation with EEG, primarily while people do tasks.
So I saw one of your for lack of better words, buzzwords is the hemo. What was it?
Hemodynamic response function.
So that's watching blood flow. Is that functional MRI then?
Yeah. So functional MRI, we can only indirectly measure neural activity. So essentially, after a brain region like exerts itself, it has a demand for oxygenated blood. And so somehow, this is like kind of amazing that the body can do this. Somehow the brain routes blood around very carefully to where you need more oxygen because you're using that part of your brain. So it does this on a very quick time scale. And by quick, I mean, it takes 5 seconds to generate this response. So essentially we're measuring activation after someone like uses a part of their brain. Yeah. And we can track it like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get through this doorway. I'm like, what the heck is going on? But
engage camouflage. There you go. Man, the camouflage was a big deal on this one.
Oh yeah, I think it froze. Oh, there we are. We're back. All right. Some loading.
We're good. All right, so we're almost an hour in, actually. Time flies when you're having fun. So if you guys have questions for Dr. Justin Riddle, he's happy to answer them. Anything brain-related, EEGs or electrical signals and how that translates to function or non-invasive stimulation. He is happy to answer any of those questions. Put them in chat. It's a pleasure to have you guys joining us.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Excited to be here. First time on Twitch.
So how's How's the Halo 2 going?
Oh crap! Well, I just jumped off the edge here.
All right, we'll
Yeah, it's
rage on that
fine.
one.
You know, it's amazing how deep the muscle memory is.
Yeah, isn't it
My
crazy?
God, like
Hours.
hours. I mean, yeah.
Days of your life.
If you knew how many, they say 1,000 hours to get good at something. Well, what about 20,000? You know,
King Willie, welcome
what
back.
happens after that?
Oh, Megan redeemed request a factoid. So Justin, drop a knowledge bomb. What's the audience needs to learn? What do you want to?
The audience needs to know. I think we prepared some. Yeah, are we going through those?
Oh, I didn't even look at the.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go through the prepared ones. All right, here's fun fact numero uno. So yeah, Justin lived in a Berkeley student cooperative housing. So I lived, in Berkeley, and true to form, or true to the name, I lived in a co-op that was vegetarian and historically a nudist co-op. So yeah, we had Naked Pizza Friday. You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow.
How many people in this co-op?
I think it was like 70 people.
Wow.
It was a pretty sweet house. It was called Lothlorien. But yeah, there's a tree house, which was like a guest room, So yeah, like the third story, there was like a bridge into a tree house, but it had full walls and like a bed in it, But you were like in a tree. I mean, that was a fun plus. But anyways, I lived the ultimate hippie life.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome life experience.
For a time. You do it while you can.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So Megan, hopefully we're looking for a factoid of somewhat random one.
Maybe that was CMI, but
hopefully that filled the void of knowledge. You know a lot more about Justin than you did 2 minutes ago.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Life experiences, we'll take them.
Yeah, do it when you're young, right? I mean, I don't know. You know what? We're not dying here. We can still do crazy things in our older age.
I don't know about you, but a nude co-op would absolutely count as an invasive brain stimulation.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, definitely not non-invasive.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, fun times.
Now, it's one of those priorities change with time. Now you're like, oh, I want a normal cost of living and be within biking distance of campus. Like, these are the things.
Oh my God, I know. Berkeley in the Bay is so pricey.
Yeah,
I mean, I was
crazy.
Yeah, I was like volunteering. I was doing these like consulting gigs to like pay my rent. My God.
Yeah. Well, it's even more to like thinking about it as a professor. They're graduate student salaries now. Like you can't afford them with normal grants.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy.
Oh yeah, because grants don't like necessarily scale with this. Yeah.
Like NSF budget is the same for us as it is for them. I'm like, it's crazy.
No, it's true. I mean, yeah, the co-ops were helpful because they were like graduate student co-ops, and those were like. Some of the perks was like we had infinite food. So there's just like you pay your bill, you pay your monthly bill, and then you just free reign on the kitchen.
Huh.
I mean
that's amazing.
That was awesome.
I really hope the person that ran that was just like this old dude in a monocle, like Monopoly style guy. He's just like, I'll milk those hippies for everything they're worth.
Yes. This avocado would cost $20 to the collective.
Exactly. Oh, eat your toast.
But there is something about getting like a crate of 100 avocados.
Yeah.
Like no one's watching, and you're just like, all right, it's
just in
time
bulk.
to eat like 5 avocados.
Oh man, Misadventures Astro, welcome back. What about small stimulus that triggers 25-year-old memories? I'll add on to this one. For example, when you're falling asleep at night and you remember back to that thing you did in 2nd grade and it keeps you awake.
Oh, interesting. Like, what's the neurophysiology of these like triggered memories?
Can you trigger that with a field? Just cause nightmares.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we just don't have this level of precision yet, and we're doing like just real fundamental work trying to just, hey, I'm paying attention to something, and then I'm gonna, manipulate that and make it different. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, a lot of the rhythms I'm targeting are kind of like the executive control network, prioritizing memories. And I think, one one experience, that kind of drilled this into my head as like, okay, I'm doing something worthwhile and interesting, was I had a friend who was like piloting the experiment with me, and he cognitively felt what I predicted him to feel. So he was like, oh yeah, the faster one made me feel this way and the other one made me feel this other way. And I was like, dude, that is literally like pretty much what I'm trying to make happen, and that was like second year of grad school, third year of grad school.
Yeah, you felt like a god.
And I was like, oh my God, this is freaking real. Like, we've done it. So yeah, and then I've had more recently, I'm targeting like the frontal parietal executive control network, which is, the part of your brain that activates when you're doing things actively, thinking actively. And so, yeah, I've had some participants who are getting this brain stim and they're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm super smart and I can I can think about everything right now.
Yeah.
And then there's like another day where we're like kind of messing up the network. And then like this same person was like, oh man, I feel like really dumb today. Like I felt like I couldn't do the task at all. And it was just so cool because it was like, okay, here's another example of, the person kind of predicting what they were supposed to feel. And yeah, it's not like I'm triggering a specific memory or something like that, but wow, like I'm able to, control my mind better. Like, oh, I'm more in control of what I'm thinking about.
Or you feel like you're more in control.
Well, okay, let's hope we're doing what we think we're doing. I mean, there's always that concern, I guess.
I mean, but then there's something to be said about if you set that up in a weightlifting scenario, right? Like if you're doing it properly. I mean, so you're controlling it with frequency of oscillation then?
Yeah, so part of like the nuance or like the cleverness of our studies are that you can deliver like the same amount of pulses to the brain, but what really seems to make a difference is like the timing and the frequency that you're stimulating at. So like different brain networks have different preferred rhythms that they're like vibrating at.
Yeah.
And so we target specific rhythms, and then it helps them out if we're doing it aligned with what it wants to do. So a lot of it is like, okay, we might not know exactly why the brain is doing this, but let's just help it do the thing it wants to do.
Yeah.
And then people generally appreciate that. And then if you try to make it do like the opposite or the wrong thing, then they generally feel like annoyed / disrupted cognition.
You could add such a meta to the like movie viewing experience. Like they do it with audio, right? They do a subliminal, vibrational, whatever. Yeah. Like, and you feel this like visceral response. You could add electrical and like really fuck with people in real time.
That'd be cool. I mean, I always imagine like a DJ set where you like you show up at the EDM festival and you're like, when the bass drops, you're like, activate frontal parietal theta rhythms.
Everyone
and
just switches out.
Yeah. Or you're just like on fire and then you just get into the groove.
I mean, if you had no moral qualms, that sounds like an awesome startup idea.
Hey, this is, we're not going in the brain, right? Non-invasive is actually all good.
Man, that's awesome. But going back to the question by misadventure, so it was like these 25-year-old memories that we seemingly forgot, and then sometimes they just appear. And so like my naive perspective of memory is you have neural pathways, long-term memory is more solidified pathways, but sometimes you lose access to those, but they're still there. Like, how does that work?
Okay, I'm going to have like a more crazy answer than the average person here. So I think that the brain is highly nested where there's many, many scales coexisting with each other. And so I have like a paper coming out, which is kind of a consciousness theory, right? I guess we all have one, right? But my theory is, hierarchical consciousness, where there's like these many, many layers to yourself. And we exist at this very high macro scale of like brain networks vibrating at the same rate that like you're speaking at, and the same rate that like, you're going through a thought train, and there's like an electrical vibration that is tracking with your thought train. But then underneath it is all these brain regions going like super fast. And so I would guess that if like something pops up, maybe it literally, I mean, maybe literally is not the best word, but it like actually is like popping up out of neurons, and you aren't even down there, you know? you exist at like a network level, and you exist at like a hundreds of thousands of millions of neurons level, and yet there's this vast network of all these little brain, little neurons and little regions, and they're all operating super quick, and you're not even fully aware of what they're doing or what's happening, and you just occasionally it bursts through into the macro scale, and then you become privy to, oh, my brain has been doing this thing. So yeah, I mean, that is, definitely not the status quo opinion, but yeah, I think it's a novel way of looking at brain activity that, I think the data is pointing at it. And like someone like me who studies big scale neural activity, it kind of like justifies what I'm doing in like kind of a selfish way, but also like in a data driven way. But then it also validates, people that study neurons and people that study proteins. Like there's all sorts of levels that are meaningfully contributing to our experience, but they're just contributing in different ways,
I mean, so is that a historical trend? Like you can envision like the high level thinking of, Freud and what you have these emergent thoughts and things. And then over time we get better microscopes and we can zoom in further. And then it takes a reductionist view of neurons dictate everything. Yeah. I mean, is that a cultural phase shift in the community? And you think it's stepping back and looking bigger picture again?
Yeah, I think that... I think it's slowly happening, but it's definitely, what I'm saying is not like the average standard person's, view. But yeah, I think it's a factor of us getting better techniques, diving deeper. But I think the real bias is that we kind of want simple answers intuitively.
Yeah.
And so we think, oh, it's just neurons. And we want there just to be like a single level that's relevant because it just seems like the most straightforward and easy in a way. And so it's kind of like a harder answer where it's like, well, actually, you have to study every level simultaneously, or each level captures a different component, and then you have to look at the interactions across levels, and it makes the space so much more challenging compared to, I know people who are at this point where they're basically thinking like, hey, we're really close to finishing this. Like, we know it's neurons, we know it's electrical activity. We just got to figure out a little bit more about how neural signaling works and chemical synapses work. And then we're like almost there, right? Versus what I'm saying is, well, yeah, you figured out one level.
Yeah.
What about the bigger level? What about the smaller level? And like, and then what about the properties of how we go across levels? Is there some standard, like motif? Like, is there something that kind of transcends any individual level? Like some kind of lingua franca of how these levels communicate? Or is it like different at every level? I mean, there's just like a whole new space of thinking about this. But yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of things that resonate with our psychology where, yeah, like ideas just pop into your mind, and where the hell do these ideas come from? And then sometimes we're like, oh my God, why did I think that? Like, I don't want to think this. And we try to like suppress these thoughts. And it's like, this kind of explains it. Cause yeah, you're this really big thing in a body that includes a lot of small things. And we're trying to, navigate being a big thing and not really even having control over the small parts of our body.
I mean, so you're taking a top-down view in terms of analyzing this. You're taking like human behavior and things. But if you had to make a guess, like we can take a neuron and understand how that works. We can put two together, understand how that works. They've made networks of like 6 or 7 in simulated worm brains. Like,
yeah, we have that one worm where we simulated every neuron, period.
Exactly. And it's like, what number of neurons would you guess for these high level or super level of functions to exist? If you had to guess, what would you say?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Okay, this is going to kind of dodge your question a little bit.
No worries.
But I would venture to guess that there's like some biological infrastructure that enables this more macro scale activity, you know? So it's like, how do we go from single cellular to multicellular? Is there something like fundamentally new happening with multicellular life that's not happening with single cellular life? You know what I mean? And then is there something really novel happening where, oh, now we have this network, macro scale of the brain? Is that like a new mechanism is required to make this thing happen, you know? So in that case, it's not necessarily we need like a crap ton of neurons, but we need like some biological infrastructure built on top of the neural level that can interface downwards and receive information upwards to kind of like get what it needs.
Nice. All right, so we're an hour and 10 minutes. Do you want to keep on Halo 2 or do you want to change it up? It's up to you. What do you feel?
We can change it up. Yeah. Should we switch over to the Switch? Should we do a switcheroo?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. All right, so I'll give you a question while we switch to background noise. So JTP23 wants to know, what is the process for choosing the subjects that you do experiments to?
So am I responding while you're switching things?
Yep.
Yeah, so usually we're studying healthy control individuals. So typically college students that are trying to get some spending money. So yeah, our studies are relatively, not that, rough to people. There's really minimal risk involved in doing these studies. So typically we get people that are like really enthusiastic about science, and like more so than even money, it's like people that are trying to like figure out what science is about, and so they're participating in research to kind of see it from the inside. So yeah, typically enthusiastic undergrads checking out psychology. Oh man, we might have to like purchase their internet pass thingy, or I could just hopefully this doesn't like stream my credit card or something.
Well, I'll go back to the talking heads and no one can see what you're doing. Oh, free trial.
Doing the free trial. Free trial here, guys.
7 days. Don't worry, we'll play like 80 ads and we'll cover this.
Okay, I'm trying to think what my zip code is for when this... Is that the zip code we're in? It's 302. Oops.
No worries, we're troubleshooting. So it's mostly volunteer-based research then.
Yeah, and then I do some studies with psychiatric populations. So yeah, for those studies we
King Willie says you can play Smash Bros offline.
Yeah, I could just do like the campaign version.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember my zip code in North Carolina. Jeez.
Oh man. You were in Chapel Hill?
Yeah, look up Carborough.
Carborough.
You know Carborough.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the zip code is off the top of my... That's where I lived, actually, was in Carborough.
I'm going to have like a flashback and be like, oh my god. Oh yeah, 27510.
No, Carborough.
We'll see if this works. I mean, I'm going to get like crushed by like all the 14-year-olds of the world.
It's fine. Mediocre gameplay.
Yeah, mediocre gameplay.
We'll deliver. Your 7-day free trial.
All right. Oh yeah, keep this blocked.
All they see is this right now.
Okay.
So those of you trying to stream snipe Justin's credit card.
All right, I think I'm in. Oh my god, I'm gonna get riggedy wrecked here.
Let's do it. Is there like a rating system in this, or is it random?
I guess so. I don't know. Okay, let me cancel and then try it again. Oh, okay, we're in.
All right,
quick play. All right, so we're playing Super Smash Brothers online, and
what's your character of choice?
Yeah, so my character is Zelda. Zelda with the gray hair. As
opposed to the not gray hair. Is there a skill difference, or it's just aesthetic?
No, it's aesthetic. She's the white fox.
I respect that. Commit to the white hair, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta remember how to play this thing. Okay, we do this thing. We got this one. The teleport's really hard. I'm probably gonna kill myself with that on accident.
The graph paper is nice. This experiment mode, that was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, that's like the loading screen. Okay, they can see us playing, right?
Yep.
Oh god, I hate all the sword people. This is brutal. Okay, guys, I'm just about to get wrecked. We might have to switch to like something a little less.
I mean, the game.
Okay, I got. I'm hitting him a little bit, right? Yeah.
Wait till if you guys want to mess with Justin right now, ask a science question. I have a non-science question.
This one's a little too fast paced.
So I have a non-science question for you. Have you heard of nominative determinism, where
No.
someone's name dictates their
Oh, I have
career.
heard of this. Yeah. Oh my
Usain
God.
Bolt is a runner, right?
Yeah, because he's Bolton.
So you, as Justin Riddle, were either going to become a psychologist or a supervillain.
Yeah, or
You didn't have
Voldemort. I had no choice. I have always identified as a Slytherin, but yeah, no, I do feel that way. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Riddle
mystery of the
is-
universe. I'm like into like, what is the concept of
Yeah.
why we're here, right? Like, is there justice in this world?
You were
but
destined.
yeah.
Your parents like.
And then my middle name is Michael. I'm the messenger of science, you know?
That's awesome. So Riddle, what's the name origin on that?
I think it is, God, I think it's like Irish or something. It's like Riddle.
I see.
I don't know. It's probably like, I don't know.
Oh, I should have asked. How do you pronounce it? It's Riddle or Riddle?
Oh, yeah, it's just Riddle.
Okay.
It's just, it's
Yeah,
it's an
phonetic.
English word.
Let's be phonetic. Oh man. Should we see how many people are streaming Smash Brothers right now?
Oh, yeah, they're probably logging in here and they're like, oh, God.
Oh no, we're gonna go under Super Smash Bros.
Ooh, yeah, I killed him once, guys, okay?
There are 4.4K viewers right now. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's stream under that subcategory.
Oh, no.
We're trying to. This is.
Let's
this
do. We
is-
got to grow the channel. We gotta.
This is scientific outreach. We're
Yeah,
trying to reach
like and
people
subscribe
that
here.
normally wouldn't. Exactly. If you guys haven't smashed that subscribe button or follow button, at least we'll take that.
If you give us a super chat, we tell you the real science secrets here.
Yeah. Wait till we start the Ask a Scientist hot tub streams. Then it's off the rails. But anyone just joining us, our guest today is Dr. Justin Riddle. He's an expert
Hello.
in brain and how brain functions, particularly studying electrical signals and how you can use electrical stimulation to impact decision making or thoughts or feelings or whatever it might be. If you guys have any questions, throw those in chat. We are happy to answer them. If not, stick around, listen. We're
I just killed
gonna
myself.
just hang out and we'll spend all night drinking and playing video games.
Cheers. Thanks for watching, team.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy to be smashing with you.
Absolutely. So the electric oscillations to giving different feelings is super intriguing to me, and one of the reasons is we do something on solar cell measurements called it's EIS. It's electrochemical impedance spectroscopy. And so what this does is when you have a solar cell, right, there's a whole bunch of different processes happening in that solar cell. And so like you shine light on it, you get electrons moving one way, they hit an interface, they go across that interface, and each one of these processes happens at a different rate. And so what you do is you oscillate the voltage. And so those of you familiar, V equals IR, right, Ohm's law. So if V goes up, I goes up. The problem is real systems, that response isn't instantaneous. So you change voltage, a current responds, but it lags behind. And depending on how fast that process is, V and I will be out of sync. It's basically oscillations in the signal. And so what you do is you oscillate the voltage and you see how the current oscillates. And so you can basically get the frequency of different events inside the solar cell, which sounds like what
that
you're
sounds
doing.
like what we're
Which is
doing.
crazy.
Oh my God.
But you're measuring it in a very different way, right? Like in terms of the response. But it's the same idea, right? These frequencies of behavior targeted with. That's crazy.
No, totally. I mean, I think that is super fascinating. And yeah, I mean, a lot of my job is like measuring electric fields, thinking about different ways to capture the natural activity that's occurring in the brain, cross-frequency coupling, connectivity between different signals.
Yeah.
And we like frame these as like mechanisms of cognition or cognitive control.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. I had a friend who, he was doing like a postdoc in like something about like biophysics. And he was curious because, I was studying these cross-frequency coupling patterns where you have basically a high frequency and a low frequency, and the phase of the low frequency is coupled to the amplitude of the higher frequency. And he was like, wow, we don't do this in like protein research, but there is like evidence of different signals even at that scale. Mm-hmm. And then, he actually tried out some of these like coupling metrics, like coming from neuroscience in his like proteins.
That's awesome.
And nothing really came of it because he left academia and blah, 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 blah. But, there's probably some crosstalk here. And maybe these are like general principles.
Well, what's interesting is this EIS. What you measure it, what you model it with is an equivalent circuit. So you can take resistors, capacitors, and various other like electrical elements, and you can simulate why that frequency response is. And so it's intriguing to me that like, can you reduce a thought down to an RC circuit? Like, is it the frequency of oscillation related to that type of behavior?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think what's tricky is then like it doesn't quite answer like the information content question, and like somehow, and I spend a lot of time with like consciousness researchers and people doing some wild things. And there's like this electromagnetic theory of consciousness where like EM fields are consciousness. And it's like, I don't know, like
What does that
I guess so. What does that even mean? Like, then like there's current in our walls, and then the walls are now conscious because there's current in them. And so, yeah, like on some level, it's like, I still feel like our models of how the brain work are just so simple. And that's kind of what brought me into psychiatry is like, hey, like, we could build tools to help change people's brain activity, and maybe that helps them think in a new thought pattern or something. But I don't know. And like, I think we're learning things about how the brain works, but like, are we going to reverse engineer the human brain from like a circuit board? Like something just doesn't feel like maybe I'm just a pessimist.
Yeah.
Or I have like some magic in my heart.
Simple?
But yeah. And I like speculate about like quantum computers, and like, there's so much other domains of study that we don't quite understand, and maybe there's just other things out there that we're just not quite there yet. And it doesn't mean, I don't know what the answer is, but
well, I mean, it's intriguing, especially the like macro level electric fields you're saying might influence outcomes or decision making, because like a computer chip won't have that. Most of it is isolated transistors, right? And they don't cross-talk across each other. If they did, it wouldn't work. But maybe that's the emergence of something more complex, and a computer will never achieve thought unless we have that. Like, I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, no, I know a guy. I know a guy who's like trying to like build microchips that like exhibit like local field potentials and some of like the activity patterns that like the brain exhibits. But then that is not like actually doing anything. It's just like generating activity for the sake of having that kind of activity. And then it's just kind of like, oh man, it keeps getting me with that move. Yeah, and then it's kind of just like, I don't know, are we doing the right thing here?
I mean, it's an intriguing question, that's for sure. So this is a real person you're playing against right now.
Yeah, this is what we call an internet person. Like the rest of you out there. Yes.
So if anyone wants to fight Justin right now, just hop on Smash.
And
look for Mr. Just.
And if you're ranked really low, then if you've never played this game online, then you might match with me.
Wait, did you do Mr. Just before you were Dr. Just?
No, I'm just a humble guy here. I don't even know where this came from, to be honest. I don't know.
I like it. So Smash Bros, you played the GameCube version?
Yeah, so I used to play a lot of Princess Peach, and then my friend would play Sheik, and then we would just literally play Smash like for hours on end. I mean, this is when I was like probably 10 or something.
Yeah.
And it was a good freaking time.
But it was the GameCube one?
But yeah, it was the GameCube one. Yeah, then I kind of dropped out for a while. And then, I started playing this one with my little brother. And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So you guys play online together?
Yeah, we played online for a bit. Like kind of when Switch, or when, not Switch, but when this game came out, we were playing it a lot more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good way to like bond with him. And he would just kick my butt. So I would just play one character over and over and try to get semi-okay, and then he would just go on random. And that's how we would like level the playing field.
Yeah. No, I look forward to our nursing homes looking like this.
Oh,
just like retiring to play Smash. And
when we're like chilling in the pods, you know.
In the pods.
Life in the pods, you know.
But yeah, if you guys have questions for Justin, feel free to throw those in chat, but I'm going to do one of our standard questions. Favorite equation?
Yeah, so, I've kind of been on this topic, but my favorite equation is the equation for phase amplitude coupling. So, I got hit with the Falcon punch. So yeah, phase amplitude coupling. You take the phase of a low frequency signal, the amplitude of a high frequency signal, and you kind of just shove them together, and you make this like, I jokingly call it like this like bastard signal of the phase of one, the amplitude of the other instantaneously. So it's m to the ei theta, where that is your amplitude, e to the I of your phase. Take a time series, and then you take the mean of that signal, and then the resulting vector, you take the magnitude of that resulting vector, and that is your phase amplitude coupling strength. And yeah, it served me well in the neural analyses. And so and I think it's just like a beautifully simple equation where any signal you could view as like a hybrid of phase and amplitude, and here you take the phase from one place and the amplitude from another place, shove them together, and now you're measuring this kind of collectivized signal here. So yeah, that is my favorite of the equations.
Put a link in there.
I don't use many equations, but when I do,
I mean, so
it's all about phase.
So do you guys do like Fourier transforms ever? Like, are you familiar with application?
Yeah.
Because that seems like it's related.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I do like wavelet convolution is mostly what I'm doing, where you take basically a sine wave and a Gaussian, and you just kind of shove them together, and then you do the dot product with your time domain signal, and then you get a resulting instantaneous phase and amplitude.
That's awesome.
So that's how we measure like an oscillation that's in a task or like in a very specific period of time. So we do some FFTs, but not really.
Yeah. I mean, you need pretty precise signals and not a lot of noise to do Fourier transforms and get meaningful data out of them.
Yeah, and I'm usually interested in like dynamic activity, and so the FFT is a little too like frozen in time for me. But yeah, I mean, I definitely use them. We use it more kind of like a validation that like our oscillations are like really in the data,
What is this board? Is this like a journey through
this
Mario
is freaking
level?
moving one. It's so annoying.
What is this?
And I hate Ness. He's like the most obnoxious character to play. So it's like double whammy. I'm just getting Pika lightning, whatever. It's like the most like spammy character.
But it's through the different Mario universes. I like it. All right, JPT23. Do you believe the brain is fully deterministic?
Wonderful question.
Even if we don't understand it, what's your guess?
So here's my bias. I think that the brain has more than just determinism. What does that mean? I don't exactly know, but I think in order to salvage free will, meaning, a lot of like the human condition, I feel like is kind of invalidated by just being like purely deterministic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of a believer, and I have faith in this, that there's going to be some moment of non-determinism that enters into science. One example is the collapse of the wave function, where there's a deterministic evolution of the wave function in quantum mechanics, but then there's this reduction step that we don't really understand what the heck's going on. And so there's like some room in physics broadly. However, like, I don't use this knowledge in my everyday job or life. But this is just kind of my conviction that, I think there's more going on than meets the eye. I'm a computer science guy, so I know how to program. And I understand determinism because computers are deterministic, and they kind of represent like the ultimate expression of determinism. And I'm just not one of the, I don't think that modern AI is the end of all of human technology. I think there's like more out there. And like the fact that we like kind of just started doing science like nowadays, and we think, oh, we got it all figured out. We made computers, right? We're done. And I just think there's more to this whole, life mystery thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think determinism is a part of it. But so yeah, I kind of like to be a little bit of a troll and just tell people I believe in free will. And they're like, what? You're not allowed to believe in free will because you're a scientist, and believing in free will is anti-science or something. And And I just don't buy it. Like, I just don't think we know that much to say, like, oh, yeah, like...
But it sounds like you don't want that to be true.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
necessarily that the evidence points to it. You don't want it to be true.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not true.
I mean, so there's an intriguing thing, and we've talked about this in, quantum mechanics, right, where you have probabilistic events and not necessarily predicted. But, I mean, determinism... There's predictable determinism and then there's unpredictable determinism, where it's like, if it's predictable determinism, the outcome is always going to be the same. When a certain pathway is initiated, the outcome is inevitable. But then there's also unpredictable determinism, where there will be an outcome that's dictated by the state, but you can't predict what that outcome is because you have 50-50 events happening and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I think either of those rule out a certain amount of free will, but I don't know how to think about that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to respond to that example, but, you know, I would just say that I'm like a bit of a Platonist.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, let me just maybe throw another example and maybe you could riff off this. But, you know, there's people that believe in the laws of physics.
Yep.
Right? And you think, okay, there's V equals IR. And there's some like regularity. And it's like, it's almost as if this is like a general principle for how the universe works. Well, isn't that like just Platonism? Like, isn't that the belief in some sort of like higher math reality that like defines our system? Bless you.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, I'm a pure physical reductionist. I don't believe in any of that hokey pokey stuff. But I do also believe that there's like the laws of physics and these are the one true laws and everything obeys the laws and they are in pure math land. And you know, like, how is that not like a form of like Platonism? And maybe that's deterministic in a sense, but it kind of screws with that dichotomy of determinism versus non-determinism.
Yeah.
Here we have physical reality versus the laws of physics that govern reality.
Yeah.
Right? And then how are those the same thing? Like, hey, I got a particle here, you got a particle there. Versus, you know, the laws that govern why particles move. Like, are the laws really there?
Yeah.
Because then you're a Platonist. Then you believe in some higher power of mathematics. And like, is your square the same square as my square? I think so. I think there's a concept of a square.
Yeah.
We both know what we're talking about.
Universal square. Yep.
There's the universal square. There's one true square. Right? And then you're like, and then you're a believer. You have faith in this square concept.
Yeah.
And then the alternatives that say, oh, there's no such thing as a square. We all just have weird, crappy models of what squares are, and your square is different than my square, and somehow we kind of make sense to each other, but we're really just BSing each other that we even understand each other.
Yeah.
Right? Because actually, none of our squares line up. They're all just like weird, crappy, approximate squares. So I'm kind of a Platonist. I kind of believe that, you know, the laws of physics are real, and there's like something to it more than more than just like physical particles in this world. I don't know.
So,
anyways, we're going off the deep end here.
JTP, your answer is it fully deterministic? Mostly we hope it's not, but maybe it is. We don't know. That's a hard
join my cult and I'll tell you all about the lack of determinism in the universe.
You'll really enjoy Nudist Fridays. It's great.
Yeah, but really, we all do it for the Nudist Fridays because, you know, free pizza, okay?
Misadventures in Astro, you're all NPCs to me. That is the best
You're all
descriptor.
NPCs to me.
I also want to note, how awesome is it they incorporated Rob the Robot in this?
Rob the Robot. I don't even know where he's from, actually. Maybe you could tell me about
You're too young,
Rob.
but he came out with the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original Nintendo.
Okay.
And there was like 3 games that had Rob the Robot. I actually have him sitting on the shelf back there.
Oh,
I'm gonna
nice.
grab him. I'll show you guys.
He's one of my favorite characters to kill in Smash because he's such a big target, and I think his moves are just kind of slow. So it's just, of course, I'm getting wrecked by him, but you know.
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob the Robot, the original for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And he would basically use these hands to pick up blocks and move them back and forth to different piles, and that's essentially Rob.
Oh my God, you have a real Rob.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that is
wow, if
Rob.
only Large Marge could see the Rob in my own hands right now. I think they would forfeit and just give me the match.
Oh, man. I know this dates me age-wise, but I refuse to let go of Rob. Rob will stay with me forever.
Rob taught me so much.
One of my favorite characters in Smash. Yeah, that's him.
Cool. Wait, so what are the functions of this toy here?
So it picks up things and moves them to different piles. There were a couple games, God, I don't even remember what the names of them are. because they weren't good games. Like they didn't know how to use this technology. But yeah, you plug it in, you'd have your controller, both would act simultaneously. It wasn't great. That's why most people have never heard of Rob, because it died.
It was a failed idea.
Exactly. But yeah, Rob, that would.
Cool. Well, Rob is having his revival. You know, he's a medical now.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is Rob. And I don't get to bust out my nostalgia too often, but there it is. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Chad. I feel like this is fun. You guys are doing the big questions.
One of my bourbons. Are you familiar with Angel's Envy?
Oh my God, let's do it.
You want to give it a try? So this was Maya Murphy, one of my guests from physics, actually. He studies astrophysics. This was his choice of drink. And so it actually became one of my wife's favorites. Now we have Angel's Envy.
Really?
Yep.
And I just killed Rob on your behalf. Let me pound this thingy.
Worries. Oh, let's do it. Ooh. So this one's going to be less smoky, a little bit sweeter.
All right. All right. Well, cheers, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a great union of the minds.
We're drinking with Rob.
The interwebs. Cheers to Rob, the real reason for the season.
He's the hero. Cuddle Puppy, have you ever dressed up as the Riddler?
I have, I'm not a huge Halloween guy,
but
because it's a lot of work that I never put in.
Nominative
but when I dressed up for Halloween, it's like I put a shirt with a question mark on it and call it a costume.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've tried to stop purchasing Riddler paraphernalia because it hit a point, I
mean, we all got to have hobbies, right?
Yeah.
Gotta have escapism. As we sit in my room, which is decked out with 4 lights, 3 screens, and a whole bunch of video games. So I will judge no one for their hobbies.
Okay, let me add a factotum here now that we're talking about like nerdy subcultures.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna level with you all. This is me like really releasing the demons
to dozens of viewers.
So yeah, I used to be a big brony. I used to be really big in the My Little Pony.
Yeah. Wow.
Did you ever mess with the pony reality?
I missed that like age slot where that would have happened, because that was presumably high school into college.
Yeah, it was like high school into college for me. Yeah, and like I had a little brother, and so me and my sister just really bonded with like my little brother on it. Mm-hmm. But it started like ironically, and then you're like, wait, I actually really like this show.
Well, in their defense, it's
a great show. Okay?
It is. Like I watched that with my daughters, and like clearly, like most shows, they target older people as well as kids, right? It's like the higher level meta. Going back to our levels of understanding, right?
Yeah, like if you're gonna watch a children's TV show, like you might as well watch My Little Pony. Okay.
Man, the other one but
only till season 3, and then they got the creator left, and it really just went downhill, and they
off the rails.
Yeah, they violated like just the character dynamics. Like this character's not supposed to act this way, and it's just for the sake of some dumb new writer's plot, they just violated all the characters. So, anyways, whatever.
So the one that was for me was actually Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
So that transcends generations, but that was like, first it was 1970s, and then it came back. What I love about Scooby-Doo is it became self-aware at some point. Like they have a formula, right? Like
where they were just accepted the stoner reality.
well, those of you not familiar with Scooby-Doo, it's like, oh, something mysterious happens. We're going to investigate it. It turns out it was somebody in a costume or something. But they became so self-aware of it that it was self-referential, like references to meddling kids and whatnot. But my favorite was one of the recent movies, and I watched this with my kids, but they were like, at the start of the movie, they ended up going to the costume factory and arresting someone because that was the source of all their problems. And it showed them going through like 2 years of like existential crisis because they didn't know what to do with their lives because they had defeated the source of their problem.
Wait, what?
Yes, it's absolutely amazing.
Okay, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, no, Scooby-Doo. I don't remember the name of the recent one. Somebody in chat, if you guys know it.
The live action one with Sarah Michelle Gellar, though, that was freaking sick. That was a good
Matthew
one.
Lillard as Shaggy. I don't know if you knew this, but he has voiced Shaggy since then. Like in 30 movies, yeah.
The other ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
so there's like 70 Scooby-Doo movies, and Matthew Lillard is the voice in half of them. So there you go. We both nerd out here.
Nice, nice. Here I am crushing some noobs in the Smash.
No, congratulations. Good gameplay. All right.
I think I'm just down on the ladder, but anyways, yeah.
Whatever, we'll climb the ladder.
We're climbing up.
We're going to make the most of your 7-day trial.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't auto renew because I'm never gonna cancel this.
All right. I'm gonna ask some of my canned questions because I really like some of these and I forget to ask them because I'm 3 drinks in.
So let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. If you could host any scientific figure, alive or dead, on Ask a Scientist Gaming, who would it be? So you're sitting in my shoes and you have somebody playing games, hanging out, drinking, shooting the shit. Who's your go-to?
Yeah, okay. So here's what's up with me. So I am like a big fanboy of Roger Penrose, who is still alive today. He's a little bit of like the quantum consciousness guru, right? But he's done a lot of cool stuff with like black holes and, you know, math equations. I don't like exactly know everything he does, so it would be a learning experience. But he has some really great stuff on like the limitations of digital computation and like a call for other mechanisms, you know, via quantum computation and stuff. So yeah, I'm just a real fanboy of him. I've met him once. Actually, I met him a couple times now, just through. I volunteer at this the Science of Consciousness conference.
Oh, that's fun.
So I'm homies with Stuart Hameroff, who has that like, you know, that theory with him. But Roger's kind of elusive, and and I'm a huge fan. He also has like this very like esoteric philosophical side of him that I feel like most people like don't even know exists. So for example, he is a 3-world modelist, which means that it's not mind-body, it's mind-body math, essentially. So there's a domain of consciousness, there's a domain of physical reality, and then there's a domain of math. So he just like takes math super freaking seriously and just says, yeah, no, math is not physical. Math is its own thing. And so, yeah, he's a Platonist. He's just like, he's just taken on Platonism fully. Yeah. But yeah, he's one of those interesting characters in our culture because he's like a little too crazy for the mainstream, but then he like won the Nobel Prize 2 years ago. So like everyone like respects him infinitely. But then they also like don't respect his ideas because they're like a little too out there, you know? So he's just such a fun character, and I like just totally respect that level of like bravery to just kind of go out on a limb and just, I don't know, just bear it all for the world and write these like wild books that are like, I think will be appreciated, you know, a decade from now, decades from now.
I just want to briefly point out how cool this level is. So it's transitioning between Mario 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers. Like I'm a Mario player, so I was
nice.
So I did speedrunning for a certain period of time. I haven't done it in a while, beating games as fast as you can. And I was 176th in Super Mario Brothers, and now I'm not even top 700.
You mean in like global ranking of speedrunning?
Yeah, in terms of speedrun.com, the book.
Holy crap.
Speedrunning. Yeah. But that was before speedrunning became popular, and then
and then once it became a thing, you lost your title.
I'm a hipster of speedrunning.
OG speedrun. That's chill.
But
That's
back to Penrose. The way I know Penrose is Penrose tiling. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Packing tiles together, but
aperiodic repeating tiles. Yeah.
So this became very important in like crystallography. So crystallography in chemistry is like you have a repeating pattern of a structure and you can get a crystal structure. Like, you know, you can figure out determinate structure of molecules or proteins or whatever it might be, and those have to be periodic, so they repeat over and over again. And so Penrose did this mathematical modeling that said, hey, you can have periodic structures that are 5-fold, which is physically impossible in a normal crystal, but you can do it. It's just not quite a crystal. It's like quasi-crystal. And then somebody discovered that in a natural system. And
I haven't heard this follow-up.
They got that Nobel Prize in chemistry for quasi-crystals, and so that was early 2000s, I think, or something like that.
Okay, wait, can you explain the quasi-crystal to me?
So, like, if you take a square, right, you can take an infinite number of squares and you can pack them together on a 2-dimensional surface, right? And you get this pattern that repeats over and over again, and you can describe that pattern with one one square. But if
Yeah.
you try to do that with a five-fold object, like you take a pentagon
Yeah,
and
explain
try to pack
five-fold.
it, you can't do that. Like
So
five-fold.
anything with 5 edges or something that's like,
Yeah, like
that's like
a
a
pentagon.
five face 3D object.
Yep. So
Either one.
You can't pack those together in three-dimensional space.
Yeah, because all of his aperiodic things are pentagons.
Yep, exactly. Because five-fold symmetry does not pack together. So same thing with seven-fold and nine-fold and things like
So
that.
you're talking about having molecules. Oh crap! I lost my jump. You're talking about molecules having
Five-fold
being
symmetry.
packed into like a small space with each other.
And so here you can
forming
see
it.
this is a five-fold repeating pattern.
Yeah, that's the classic Penrose tiling pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that won the Nobel Prize. Let me
Wow,
see.
because someone actually found that occurring.
Yeah, you can actually.
So they
model
found a
this behavior.
Penrose tiling molecule arrangement.
Yep. It was a
What?
periodic structure. What is his name? When did he win that Nobel Prize? I'll look up quasi-crystal Nobel. So it's Dan Schechtman is the winner. That was
Okay.
2011. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in chemistry for his quasi-crystals. So he
Wait,
found
sorry, 2011.
Yep. So he found
Oh, wow.
Penrose tiling in a molecular system, basically. So yeah.
That is sick. That is really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
So you as a chemist, that is your entry point into Penrose. Yeah, I mean, what a cool guy. I feel like he just did so much weird stuff and he just kind of like followed his heart and just did some like weird math. And he, from what I understand, I'm reading like one of his books right now, the Conformal Cyclic Cosmology, which is the idea that before the Big Bang, there was a universe, and before that universe, there was another universe. And that the universe is actually, it's just still going. It just keeps going.
Its universe is all the way down.
Its universe is all the way back in time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a start point, but yeah, and he's making some weird like geometry argument, but I feel like he is a geometrician in a way, right? He's kind of like a geometry nut, and he just loves shapes. And what's cool about geometry is that it kind of breaks, like correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my understanding. Like, there's something about geometry that is not quite compatible with like physics or computer science or math. Like we can visualize and conduct proofs in like a geometric space sense, and then that and we can just know things, or we can like visualize things that we later try to like create math for, and later try to create like a physics or like a computer science for. But there's something like really intuitive and interesting about geometry.
Yeah.
That like, I don't know, it's like more primordial, you know, in like a weird way.
I mean, you're touching on something very fundamental, because like we think in a Cartesian coordinate system with 3 dimensions, right? We have an X, Y, and Z, and that's how we spatially resolved and how we visualize and exist in this world. But then you go to something like string theory, and their math requires 13 dimensions. And it's like, what does that even mean? Can we conceptualize what 13 dimensions is? And
I know, these freaking dimensions, man. What are they talking about?
Exactly. How do you?
It's some bullshit.
But like the math works out. So is it a good representation of reality? Maybe.
Yeah,
You need a testable hypothesis. But JX Big Power has redeemed Take a Drink. So cheers, JX Power.
Cheers,
Thank you for
JX
joining
Power.
us. Justin, cheers. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you guys have a drink in hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, join us, GX Power. in
Yeah,
this
what
one.
are you drinking tonight, JX Power? It's 500 internet units. Oh man, we should ask them. We should ask some questions, some more internets. Let's do the
All
next
right, all right. Oh man, maybe we can like let's move down to number 4. I feel like that
This
one's
one?
no, this next one. I feel like that one's a little more controversial. Maybe.
Interesting. We'll see how this unfolds.
Oh no, my skin got changed. I'm like some non-white haired, non-purple dress version.
Oh, as in you like want a skin?
Oh, right, but let me see if I can get out of here. All right. I don't know how to even exit on this game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following us, click the follow button. You're going to get some standard internet units. You can request a factoid, make us take drinks, unlock emotes, blah, blah, blah. But here's the question. We build causal models in human neuroscience. Is that true or is that false? Causal as in A leads to B, B leads to C. Is that the modeling strategy in neuroscience? Is that true or is that false? Bet your internet units. If you're not following us, click the follow button. 1, because it gives you more internet units that you can gamble on this question. But 2, that lets you get notifications about future streams every other Wednesday night. Also, it gives you 300 standard internet units that you can spend on this question of we build causal models in human neuroscience. Is that true or false? Happy Money has requested a factoid with their 56-1, or not requested factoid, sorry, redeemed Take a Drink with their 50-1 payout on.
Nice. Cheers.
So,
let me pop the shield on.
You're in that one. Oh, Bowser versus Zelda.
Oh man, Bowser killed me with that drink there, but
worth it.
Totally worth it. I need a challenge. These noobs are not doing it right now.
Somebody hop on and destroy Justin. You're about 3 levels away.
Yeah, I thought I would be horrible against internet people on Smash, but I feel like I've won most of the games, except for the freaking Ness. Oh my god, get out of here, Ness.
Yeah.
If you want to fight me on here, just don't play Ness. I'm gonna rage quit.
All right, you guys have about 30 seconds. We build causal models in human neuroscience. When studying humans in a neuroscience lens, do they build causal models, true or false? I guess this is kind of a majority of the time question, right? It's like,
well, I think it's more like, is it possible? You know, can we even comment on causality? You know, I feel like it's like, that is the philosophical weeds we're about to enter.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it. All right, 5 seconds left. Get your bets in. Pretty even split on this one. We have 58-42. Justin, we build causal models in human neuroscience. What is the answer?
All right. So my answer, which is the correct answer because you're watching our show, is yes.
The answer is
and
true.
The way that we do this is via brain stimulation. So the pitch, and you know, we could argue about this. I'm down. Let's go. But the pitch is that we measure something, we correlate it with some cognition. We say, hey, when you think this thought, we observe this activity. So therefore, this activity should be related to this thought. However, we don't really know until we stimulate the brain, drive that activity artificially. And then if it does what we think we thought it was going to do, then we have like causal evidence. So we call it like causal evidence or we call it a causal role. You know, these are 2 different expressions of the same thing. But so yeah, guys, we're trying. Okay, but I intentionally think it's a good question just because it's a little bit of a buzzword, a little bit of a controversy, right? Like, can we really establish causality in science? So if I could wax poetic a little bit. You know, brain stimulation works because practically, like, my God, it's amazing that it does work. And so I am, like, personally impressed that, like, our models
predict anything
actually work at all. You know, like, like, who am I to zap your brain and improve your cognition? You know what I mean? Like, that seems like it shouldn't be possible. And yet our kind of, you know, rudimentary understanding of how the brain works is kind of sufficient in these test scenarios to actually, you know, make
not bad.
You know, actually improve cognition a little bit. So imagine if everyone was trying to work on the things that I worked on, maybe we'd all get better.
I mean, but doesn't that lend itself to determinism? Like, because you are predicting the outcome, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think that. Okay, I mean, here, yeah. If we're going like deep down that rabbit hole,
No, we don't have to if you don't want.
No, I'm down. I mean, let's go. I think we live in this weird universe where things are deterministic and non-deterministic / platonic / you know, we still need to figure out what that other component is. But I don't think it's like mutually exclusive that it's either deterministic or non-deterministic. Oh, he totally spiked me there.
Oof.
And I got 0. Oh, no, I already wiped him out. Yeah, so, throwback to Rob.
Rob is back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob the robot. I think we live in a weird universe, and like maybe part of the challenge with why we don't yet understand what's happening in the universe is because there's like a non-deterministic component to reality and a deterministic component to reality.
And so, yeah, we in neuroscience, like we kind of have to bank on the deterministic component.
Otherwise, why measure it, right?
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, maybe there's some future tools that might be able to kind of get at other things. But yeah, yeah, that's just like such a new space. And like,
Yeah.
that's why we need you out there. Come join our ranks, become scientists, and we can think cool thoughts and do new experiments. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they're mutually exclusive, you know?
Yeah.
And like there's a paradox going on. There's some weird there's some weird irrational component to reality.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost 2 hours in. Our guest today is Dr. Justin Riddle. He's an expert in, psychology/neurosciences, and particularly electrical signaling in the brain, understanding it as well as stimulating it through non-invasive stimulation to influence thoughts and behaviors and how we perceive the world and understanding those types of outcomes. If you guys have any questions, put those in chat. We are happy to answer those. Question for you, Justin, is do you want to keep playing this? Do you want to transition?
Oh, I'm down to transition to our final medium. Let me just crush Rob real quick.
We'll go to Pokemon.
Yeah, so next up.
that's turn-based, right?
Yeah, so we'll be sitting there while some other person just plays for like 5 minutes.
That's perfect for Q&A. Right?
That's perfect for Q&A. Exactly. And I'll give some background on that one when we get there. But
yeah, I miss the Pokemon. Like I'm too old for it. I miss the Pokemon generation, but you guys are all in, right? This is young millennial plus Gen Z.
Yeah, millennial life. Yeah, so we can start introducing Pokemon TCG. So yeah, the trading card game, it is the same card game that you played when you were 8 years old, or at least when I was 8 years old. I mean, I didn't even play it when I was a little kid. I just collected the cards because I thought they were cool, and I really wanted to live in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah,
I remember
you wanted to
waking up in my little bunk bed, and I was like, I just want to collect them all, and I want to become a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
So yeah, the past 2 weeks, I'm like not even joking. Maybe it's been 3 weeks, but a colleague of mine at FSU has gotten me back. He plays Pokemon competitively. And he went to the Charlotte, North Carolina regionals competition.
Holy shit!
And I was like, dude, let's go. I will start playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So we're gonna play in person on Friday night.
That's awesome.
And then I've been kind of training up, playing online, watching a bunch of YouTube content to figure out what the heck is going on with the Pokemon TCG reality. So here we go.
All right, you ready? We're gonna transition over.
All right.
Let's do it. Actually, I'll give you a question before. This is one of my favorites. What movie or TV show gets your discipline wrong and what gets it right? When you watch a movie and they talk about brain function and using 10% of the brain, you shrug.
10% of the brain.
Which ones are good? Which ones are you like, holy shit, they did some homework on this one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like in the neuroscience community, we joke when we find, pop culture references where, the brain is upside down or backwards or something in the in the movie. So I was trying to look up where this 10% of the brain thing came from. Mm-hmm. And the oldest thing I could find was the original X-Men movie. where Professor Xavier is we only use 10% of our brain.
I mean, maybe before that, right?
It had to be before that. I think I found another reference that was even older.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's make it live.
Oh, come back signal.
Oh, signal.
Nope, there it is. We're good. No?
Oh, should I unplug and plug back in?
Yeah, let's give it a try. We have just green right now. No signal.
All right. Okay.
Heck, we got green screen here. Huggy Beer, welcome back to the stream. Ahoy, science folks. Absolutely. Science folks that have been drinking and playing games.
Oh, yeah.
Weird. I don't know why it's...
Here, let me unplug and try to... Let's fully let it
I think it's on my end. It might be an issue.
Okay.
Let me
Yeah, we
see.
had this working earlier today, huh?
Yeah,
well, in Pokemon, they take really long turns, so our opponent will be...
Huggy Beer, did you break the stream? Maybe. Give me a second. I'm going to try to HD60, come on.
Man, I got a great start here. If only you could see what I could see right now. My God.
Man, I don't know why it's going green screen. Let's go back to our heads. Huh.
Um,
I'm going to unplug the HD60 and put it back in. We're going to see if that does anything.
all right.
If you guys
all
lose
right.
the stream, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right. Well, I'll narrate what's happening a little bit. So I'm playing what's called a. Oh, are we still on there? Huggy Bear, why?
How dare you? So no joke, about a month ago we lost our internet connection. We have fiber optic through Metronet.
Really?
And it turns out a squirrel had gnawed through the fiber optic cable, and that killed our internet for about 3 days.
Oh my God, that's pretty gnarly.
I don't know why.
Well, I'll play slow. I mean, gosh.
So let's
Should I
small screen and see if we can come back?
Yeah.
Can you go out to main menu and then return and see if that loads?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, they're gonna keep me out of this game because you only have.
Oh, you're playing against people.
Yeah, but it's fine.
I don't want you to lose rank for this.
No, I'll lose rank.
Oh no.
Oh man, I had such a great start though.
No, just play it out. We'll talk.
Okay. Well, I'll unplug. I'll unplug. I'm about. Well, I can almost end this turn here.
No worries.
Let me just do like 2 more things.
No worries. We'll answer questions. Did you break the stream, Huggy Beer? We're gonna say yes. I don't know what else caused it, but we cannot get.
It's got to be the Huggy. Yeah.
Cuddle Puppy. I remember a study that found people who never received any affection as a child had their brain wired that they suffered from permanent depression. Is that really true?
Oh, geez. That's like a brutal question.
But there's one really particular case study of the girl that was feral. Like she was raised with no parental.
I mean, that is some pretty extreme trauma, though, right? I mean, yeah. I think if you're traumatized as a kid, there's a lot of psychiatric illnesses that can arise. I mean, that is super well studied, and it's very standard in like psychiatric illness research to quantify childhood trauma as a explicit questionnaire that you use. I think there's huge precedent for thinking that. Yeah. We can log on your computer as well if there's like a better.
Let me try again.
You just download Pokemon TCG Live.
Okay, we have that. It's capturing the computer. Let me just change inputs. Oh!
It was there. It was there.
Wait. You saw it. I don't know why it's not.
Don't worry, they're still doing their second turn for the last 5 minutes.
Cuddle Puppy, can brain scans actually see any abnormalities in brain wiring or activity?
Yeah, it's tricky. So, brains are pretty abnormal. And one thing that, when we're doing brain scans on people, it's very normal to find weird abnormalities, kind of like asymmetrical, strange things in the brain. And for the most part, it doesn't even mean anything. And so one of the challenges is knowing like what is a meaningful negative thing and what is just kind of like acceptable, your brain's kind of weird type thing. But there are a lot of studies thinking about and trying to understand different brain changes that relate to different illnesses or different changes or personality differences. So, there's definitely precedent for that, and we can see that. It just depends like what scale we need to study this brain activity at. Yeah, let me I wonder if it's just like I'm on a Mac and I'm using this.
But we had
adapter.
it earlier. We tested it and it worked. So I don't know what it's struggling to process right now.
Okay, it's my turn now. I'm gonna have to
Justin is winning so hard right now. You guys wish you could see.
Oh, there we are. We're in.
Holy shit.
All right, guys. We'll playing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it work. Huggy Beer, thank you for whatever you did to fix it.
Okay, I gotta keep the Sable Eye.
What the hell is...
Really? Oh, man.
Hey, I apologize.
Could you download Pokemon TCG Live on your computer?
It gets hard because I have to control the interface here to keep track of it, so we can't actually do it on multiple.
Oh man,
it might be your HDMI converter. I don't know.
I think it's probably this weird converter. You don't have a converter into.
Seems like a loose wire or a loose connector. I mean, I'll try plugging stuff in again, but.
What's weird is we can see it on this other monitor here.
Yeah, and it's jumping in and out, which is cool. But Misadventures in Astro, have you done any work on smaller brains like insects?
I have not personally. I mean, it is a huge endeavor to do neuroscience on any population. And so typically we got to, pick our poison, stick to our single type of individual. So, yeah, I support it. I think there's a lot of really interesting research, going on out there, and worth doing. But yeah, we learn from our animal colleagues. There's definitely a lot to be said there. However, yeah, I'm not personally doing that myself. Yeah. But good question. Good question.
God, it's just
and there is a lot of crosstalk, like we can test things in animal models that we can't do in humans. So there's a big strength of kind of combining the approaches, and the insights we gain from one we apply to the other, but extremely rare that you can study animals and humans. There's some people that do it. But usually they're studying awake and behaving animals. If you're studying flies like Drosophila, you're usually in the genetics domain doing something much more foundational. Yeah.
So those
bummer. I mean, we could just abandon the Pokemon here.
So what's crazy for you guys that aren't familiar with this setup, basically I have an HDMI that feeds into one of my 3 monitors, and then I have a output from that monitor to a capture card. And so essentially what we've been doing is all night on Xbox or on Switch, we've been capturing the output from a monitor that has an input from those systems. And that's literally what we're doing right now, and we still can't see the Pokemon gameplay, and I don't know why.
Pokemon gameplay, no. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you a little insight into what's happening. I am literally killing Charizard in this moment. Look at this.
It's a glorious.
I just destroyed Charizard. Okay, I know it's hard to believe out there in the internet. Yeah.
How long is your round?
Why don't we try? I mean, I can just cancel the round. Let me try unplugging the mouse, and I could side control here. Mm-hmm. And let's try one more attempt. Sometimes whatever port you're using makes a difference.
I mean, but the thing is, we're getting signal on the monitor, so the monitor output should be working.
There we go.
So let's say if it stays.
All right, guys, so I am just net decking. Oh, no! I can't even touch it. I think it actually is super finicky.
But that's the thing. It's fine to hear. It's going from here to my computer for capture that's doing something wrong.
That's pretty weird.
All right, well...
yeah, we can switch games.
I don't want you to lose rank or whatever might happen.
Oh, we're having a moment.
No signal?
Man.
Yeah, we'll talking heads while you finish the round. I mean, how much more time?
No, I don't have to finish the round. I'll just concede.
I don't want you to lose
All right,
rank.
I'm killing Lugia now. Okay, guys, this is.
You guys can totally envision.
Yeah, no one believes me. They're like, yeah, you tell us this. But
yeah, he's not even playing a game.
He's not even playing a game.
All right. Huggy Beer has a question. Have you done any Alzheimer's research? I've seen articles about light frequency triggering garbage collection in the brain to help clean things up.
Yeah. All right. So this is some literature this is a study that came out semi-recently, basically suggesting that if you flash 40 hertz light, flickering 40 times a second, you clean up amyloid beta plaques around neurons, which are a correlate of Alzheimer's disease. So this research was fascinating because, like, one, it's kind of like a miracle fix. Like, hey, you just flash lights in your eyes and then you can get over Alzheimer's. And that, if true, would be amazing, right? That would be an astounding finding. People, I think, are actively working to validate this finding. I don't know exactly where the literature stands today. But yeah, there was a lot of interest. It's relatively new. And in a way, presumably, the reason why this happens is somewhat similar-ish to the mechanism of neural oscillations, right? So what I study is rhythmic brain activity and how this contributes meaningfully to cognition. And here we have kind of a certain frequency band that appears to be meaningfully related to cognition. And so, yeah, in essence, the question is this somehow possible because of neural oscillations? So the jury's kind of out. Maybe there's something to it. But yeah, it kind of feels too good to be true. It kind of feels too good to be true. And I spent a brief amount of time in a Alzheimer's lab, actually. And in that Alzheimer's lab, we talked about how, and I'm kind of a noob, kind of not super well versed on like Alzheimer's research, but we talked about how weird it is that there are some people who have a lot of amyloid beta plaque and they're like, have zero symptoms of Alzheimer's. So for all of these Alzheimer's predictors, there's many, many factors, and there really isn't one signal in Alzheimer's that seems to directly relate to Alzheimer's expression. So I think we're still trying to figure out, exactly what is Alzheimer's. And that's a little bit of the challenge. So, yeah, great question. I do think it's kind of cool for my field, though, because it kind of feels like, hey, people care about neural oscillations, even though, they didn't necessarily expect that they were going to have to care about neural oscillations. Anyways, okay, I just killed a second Charizard for those out there, and I won the game. So yeah, maybe we switch back to Smash, or
which one do you want to do?
We could do some. I mean, I have this Animal Crossing set up, but that's just me like wandering around catching butterflies.
And whatever we have. I mean, you're 30 minutes away from playing NARC, so what do you want to do for the next 30 minutes?
You know what? Yeah, let's see. Let's maybe explore some Animal Crossing.
Huggy Beer, I also heard they now believe there are different types of Alzheimer's. I mean, that's almost certainly true, right?
I'm actually not familiar with that. That's a cool idea. I know that people are now starting to think that tau proteins are more important for Alzheimer's, but yeah, that's not really commenting on the different subtypes of Alzheimer's. Yeah. Not quite sure. I'm going to swap out to Animal Crossing.
All right, let's make sure we get some signal on this.
Oh man, no. The Pokemon TCG,
Happy Money has requested take a drink, and Huggy Beer has redeemed request a factoid.
Nice, let's do it.
Sorry for the technical issues, everyone. On the plus side, a squirrel has not chewed through our internet yet, so we're good on that front. It's the little victories. So Justin's currently playing with the Switch, trying to switch out the games. Switch. Yeah,
unless you got like some random Xbox games. I don't know. Man. But whatever. We're here now. We're switching it up.
All right.
Let's go.
Well, that one worked. And it's capturing the same. So it's capturing from the screen to my, I don't know, whatever. Animal Crossing, let's do it. Let's see the world you've built.
All right. So I have not played Animal Crossing in in years, and this is mostly my wife's playing this. So I'm exploring my wife's land.
Happy Money has requested take a drink. Cheers, Justin. Cheers, Happy Money.
cheers.
Hopefully, you have a drink in hand.
Cheers, Happy Money.
Thank you for making us drink a whole bunch of bourbon. We switched from Bullet Bourbon to Angel's Envy. How do you feel about the Angel's Envy?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a smooth drink.
It's a smooth drink.
It's deceptively smooth. Can I post a link about the types? Huggy Beer, if you message me, I can post a link. We have it restricted so nobody just spams shit as links.
Yeah, Huggy Bear, let's go. Let's go to the dimension.
In general, I don't like sharing links, but yeah, I trust you. You're a regular. Huggy Beer has redeemed a request a factoid. You have a factoid, either personal or scientific, that you want to drop.
All right, factoid. Let's scroll down to what I've pre-prepared, because then I'll jog my memory here.
Nothing. Cooperative nuding.
Yeah. Which of these do you think you would want to hear about? I'll drop it.
Let's do this one. The YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually have a YouTube channel. You should check it out. You out there. I talk about quantum consciousness a lot.
There's a link in chat, and it is semi-popular.
Yeah, we're getting some
subscribers.
views.
You have a video with 81,000 views, which is crazy.
That's
for a
pretty
science
good, guys,
video.
right?
Yeah.
The people want to know, why are we here? Okay, what the heck is happening?
81,000 is non-trivial hit. Like, that's...
Yeah, the synchronicity episode really took off. Yeah. But yeah, I got an interview with Stuart Hameroff, Donald Hoffman.
Yeah.
You know,
quantum teleportation.
Some of the people. Yeah, I'm hosting, or I'm helping to organize the Science of Consciousness conference in Arizona. So, yeah, when I'm there, I'm going to interview a bunch more people. So that'll be a boon for the channel, hopefully.
Cuddle Puppy is disappointed. Not a single cat meme on that YouTube page. You got a Mandelbrot fractal, but no cat memes. Cuddle Puppy's not impressed.
Yeah, I should sneak some cats into the Mandelbrot. Yes.
Oh, there we go. We got a chat from Huggy Beer. Let me grab that.
5 variants. Wow. You know, I will say, and this is a little bit into my own research, there's a lot of people now thinking about dimensionality and individual differences, and I feel like there's a big movement in science right now to kind of acknowledge the differences between people. So like in the field that I'm interested in, psychiatric illness, clinical psychology, we're kind of viewing depression as like a multifaceted, multidimensional space. So yeah, it's cool to see that Alzheimer's is doing something similar. Yeah.
Oof.
All right, here I am with my cute little man bun.
Is that you? Did you design that, or did your wife?
You know, it's a team effort here.
It captured something.
Yeah, it captured something here.
I like it.
Oh my God, I've not explored this land in many a time. Wow, there's some new decorations here. This is going to be an exploration experience for me.
Keep here. I'm trying to add.
Oh my God, I don't want to go to the airport. What the heck are they making me do here?
All right, Animal Crossing.
They're trying to drop some plot on us, but
is this just Animal Crossing? There's no extension or anything. It's just
no. This is Animal Crossing for the Switch.
Okay.
Although I feel like I haven't played in a long time, and so they're like, there's a bunch of like updates. You know what I mean? Where they like try to keep you engaged with the game.
Oof.
But I just want to wander around and catch some butterflies. But
yeah, we'll go back to science and technology. We're just chatting. Let's do that. Sorry, subcategories to pull in new viewers. Updated successfully. All right. Awesome.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like I'd have to dive into those Alzheimer's dimensions, but
I mean, but that's like, so heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, whatever. I guess there's other issues now, but heart disease encompasses 100 different things, right? It's just under the umbrella of heart disease, and Alzheimer's is just like a symptom, and it's not the cause, right? If the symptoms manifest from different causes, it would make sense that there are different causes and different types of Alzheimer's. So that doesn't surprise me. Like, they don't even know what causes it, right? As far as I know.
You know, I will say, there's only so many brain networks, and so I feel like if Alzheimer's and if dementia is a factor of like the degradation of your networks in your brain, there's going to be a finite, space of cognitive deficits that you can go through. And I think right now, the two big dimensions are Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, right? Your motor system is screwed up or your memory system is screwed up. And in a way, this does represent kind of like the big dimensions of how we think about brain activity. You have the frontal parietal executive control network, massively impacted by Parkinson's disease. And then you have the default mode network, or like the memory access network, which is massively impacted by Alzheimer's disease, So in a way, we have like a neurodegeneration for each of the major networks, And so I always thought that was like kind of interesting, It's like, hey, there's two major ways your brain can go wrong, and they map onto the two major brain networks in the brain.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess the question of different flavors of Alzheimer's would be what mechanism is causing that interference? Is that the...
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's what I would guess. Is that like, let's view the brain as having only a finite number of like things that can go wrong, or like major networks that could be impaired. And then there's just different causes biologically for like how that impairment could start. You know what I mean?
Lori, welcome back to the stream. Lori has redeemed Take a Drink, so Justin, cheers.
Lori, thank you for the enthusiasm. Here we go.
So Lori, tonight we're drinking some bourbon. So we started with some Bullet bourbon, and then we moved to Angel's Envy. So I am more drunk than I should be on a Wednesday night, but so it goes. We're playing Animal Crossing. Lori is actually the graduate advisor in the chemistry department. So
amazing.
So what's fun is every year we do a Q&A with prospective students, and so we're trying to recruit, and we do a Q&A on Twitch with the
Twitch.
with the graduate admissions committee. So we answer questions about admissions, the application process, the whole rigmarole.
Wow,
it works pretty well, and it's convenient that
and you live stream these admissions questions.
And we email PUIs around the area, and we say, hey, come ask questions, and like we're cool, we hang out, we video game, we drink, but we talk about graduate school, and so.
Nice.
Hopefully it works, and Lori's a key part of that. So, Lori, cheers. Thank you for joining us.
Lori.
We'll drink some bourbon while playing some Animal Crossing.
Hello from the psychology department. Yes.
She probably knows the advisor in the psychology department. So if you guys want to implement, I know you had some technical questions.
we could probably team recruit.
Let's do it.
Show them the diverse interests of the university.
Oh, absolutely. No, we cross collaborate. I'm still waiting.
We will now. I feel like we will now.
Ask a Scientist is a great networking opportunity. If you see things like your oscillating potential and my electrochemical impedance, like we're talking the same language. It's awesome.
Yeah. Insights to be had
while fishing in a game.
So this game is less about skill and more about fishing. Okay, no, not that fishing is skillless.
Well, it's a resilience game, right? Like it's just. Do the actions, get the reward.
Well, what I'm confused about is normally I have like this epic, like compendium of different tools here, and I'm like maxed out. But where the heck did all my tools go? It's like the game like neutralized my progress because I haven't played in 3 years. It's like a punishment.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to questions. JHBT23 has a question. Do you think the scene from A Clockwork Orange where they reprogram the main character's brain could ever become something that's scientifically realizable? So those of you not familiar with Clockwork Orange, there's a scene where basically they force the guy's eyes open and just bombard with imagery, and that's supposed to reprogram his brain for I don't know, therapeutic purposes, I guess is what the goal was.
Well, that was pure propaganda because he was a rascal committing crimes, and then they had to program him with the norms of society.
Wait, before you answer Cuddle Puppy, it's basic classical conditioning.
Yeah, exactly.
True or false?
Peel someone's eyes open and then shove propaganda into their face.
Yeah.
This is the way of the world. You know, I mean, I feel like this is like...
additional point. They gave him a drug that made him nauseous during the movie. So it was like...
Garcia effect.
Yeah. So I guess that does add a different level to it.
Yeah, no, honestly, when I watched that movie, I thought, my God, this could actually happen. Because you know what? We are not so above biology. And like, if someone were to torture us, we would probably fall victim to the torture. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's almost like evil psychotherapy. Like, it's just like manipulative.
Well, I mean, that's why torture doesn't work, right? Like, you torture someone, they don't give you information, they give you an answer. It's like the Chat GPT of the torture universe. It'll give you an answer, but it's not necessarily a real or right answer. They're just trying to stop the torture. Like, it's crazy.
True.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, man. JTP busted out Clockwork Orange. But it does relate to one of our standard questions and one of my favorites because I've seen a lot of movies. Like we talked about it a little. We talked about 10% of the brain, but which movies get it right? Which ones get it wrong?
Oh my God,
we detoured.
Get it right, God, that's a hard one.
Yeah, are there any that stand out to you as?
Okay, you know what? A fun TV show that I actually thought was really fun. Okay, Maniac. I think this is like a Netflix original with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone, okay? And I tried rewatching it. It's good the first time, right? Just watch these things once. But basically, the plot is he is suffering from psychosis. She is suffering from like some form of like substance abuse and like depression. I'm not exactly sure. And then they go to this like experimental drug clinic. And basically, they give them a bunch of psychedelics and a bunch of brain stimulation, and then like they go into their mind and they address their trauma, and they kind of come out. They kind of come out on the other side as like cured, and like I think it's just so funny. It was a little bit ahead of its time, where we're kind of in this period of time where we're now like all into psychedelics in psychiatry. There's this big movement. The NIH got record number applications with psychedelics, and so like, and then, I'm a big brain stimulation enthusiast. I think brain stimulation is real and coming, and it's going to become more and more commonplace. So anyways, I just thought like that movie kind of got it right. It was like, hey, brain stimulation plus psychedelics, addressing psychiatric illness. And it was like a fun, quirky movie or TV show. Makes you laugh. They kind of have like an 80s retro aesthetic where it's they're giving people psychedelics and brain stimulating them. But, it's like with a cute 80s aesthetic in like...
No, I remember watching that one. I've actually seen that. Oh, you've seen it? Yeah. Okay. No, I watched that. That was fun. It was a journey. It was short. It's like 10 episodes or something. It's a mini-series, right?
Yeah, and like, I just have a soft spot for like mini-series where it kind of like starts and finishes the narrative. Yeah. And it has like a clear...
It's the way
this is what we're doing, we're going to get there and we're going to do it.
Like the number of shows we see go on too long because they just want to maintain. No, just like have a story, tell it, and call it quits. Like
tell it and call it a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, people.
Not like Game of Thrones. Anyway.
Oh no, we're not.
All right, so Maniac got it right, or got it at least intriguing. What got it wrong? What disgusts you? What makes you roll your eyes? Which is the moonfall of the psychology / neuroscience world.
Of psychology.
Did you see Moonfall?
Okay, I didn't have to see Moonfall.
Inception.
Inception. Okay, I kind of liked Inception when it came out. Maybe like, but I was young. I was young.
Yeah. If you saw it now.
Okay, you know what was really fun was that movie Lucy, where she like
Oh yeah,
She like
Scarlett
consecutively unlocks more parts of her brain.
Yeah,
She starts
goes back
like
to the 10%.
folding space time
Yep.
by just thinking really hard. Yeah, that was maybe like one of the worst.
Oh my
offenders.
god, but that one's so over the top. It's amazing.
Okay, wait, some other brain ones. Do you remember that one where Limitless, where they just do like
the
this
drug.
crazy drug?
Yep.
That was cool. I mean, that was like, why can't we pull this off?
I mean, we kind of do though, right? Like with coffee and stimulants plus, I mean, Adderall and stuff, like we're a little bit, not to the extent of
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
We do have brain drugs.
Yeah. I think we'll get to a point where we really do view drugs as like tools, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like you'll
And
have
it's
doping
like,
in the academic industry. Like you have to get
Yeah.
drug testing for an NSF grant.
No, we'll just throw drug testing out. We're like, come on, why aren't you
Why isn't everyone
controlling
doing
your...
it?
Okay, like this is like a personal note.
Yeah.
I feel like I finally figured out how to like not have headaches in my life.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Where like I feel like I used to suffer from headaches, and now I've just kind of discovered like, you know, you can there's techniques to like, oops, I dug up these flowers, to not get headaches, and you just have to like commit to this program of taking rest, quiet rooms, taking some medications. Won't go into that, you know, step. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you don't have to live with the state that you're in. Mm-hmm. You know, and I feel like we're just going to appreciate this more and more.
Well, it's one of those, like, not necessarily religious, but like meditative self-awareness, right? Like consciously aware of your decisions, your thoughts, and can you control that? I mean, it's getting increasingly popular, right? It's yeah. Yeah,
like the nootropics trend, where it's like people just trying to like maximize their productivity or their well-being. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think there is something to it, and maybe it's just because I'm older and like your body starts falling apart in like weird ways, and you have to like
you have to cope with mortality.
Yeah, you have to like be a mechanic. Like, okay, the body's having issues. Let me figure out how to update the system here.
I like it. Oh, 10:30. All right. Cuddle Puppy. A lot of movies make it seem like if you have a mental illness, you have 100% chance of becoming a psychotic murderer. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like most of it is not obvious.
Probably not accurate. Yeah.
Huggy Beer. Similar question. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Maybe I could respond to that one real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think there's like, okay, there's like two thoughts here. One thought is, oh my God, we're over prescribing and we're over diagnosing, and everyone has a psychiatric illness, right? That's like one camp. But another camp is like maybe acknowledging psychiatric illness is just like acknowledging the complexity of the human experience, and like people go through a hard time, and we shouldn't have to like settle for just like, oh, suck it up, you're just going through a hard time. There's medications, there's psychotherapy techniques, like there's things we can do to address negative experiences. Just like full stop, you know? And so maybe there's like a nuance here where it's like psychiatric illness doesn't mean like, oh, my brain is broken and I'm screwed forever. But it's like, what if psychiatric illness is just like an acknowledgement of the complexity of the human experience and trying to build tools that are maybe like universally acceptable and applicable. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't like devalue people who go through much more extreme levels of psychiatric illness, you know, but to also just kind of like normalize it where, you know, we don't have to settle for having a bad day. We can try to figure out how not to have a bad day. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying psychiatric illness is having a bad day, but I'm just saying like if you're having bad days over and over and over,
yeah,
there's solutions for you out there, and they'll work for you.
Yeah.
And part of it is like trying to understand behavioral patterns with psychotherapy, understanding thought patterns with psychotherapy. Medications work and like will shift your your like baseline. So yeah, I think these are all just like tools that we can use to be better people and to have more fulfilling lives.
I mean, it seems like we're trending towards the destigmatization. And if you destigmatize, hey, everyone has issues, like then treatment is a viable option where it's not as bad to see a counselor or take a drug, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to be at your like wit's end to get help. You don't have to be like on the brink of like this is I'm out of here, like this is not working. You can just be having a hard time and get help. You don't need to be like borderline like at the end of your experience.
Back in the day, we called that going postal.
Yeah,
at the post office, like let's intervene.
Yeah, let's intervene early, right? Like if you have a friend who's not happy every day, like maybe go see how they're feeling. Gosh.
All right, so I'm going to estimate you're at about 25 minutes to beat NARC. That's just based on your Halo gameplay. So we have about 2 minutes before we're going to start.
I'm ready to switch. God, what is Animal Crossing? Man, they just screwed up my... you have a magic wand, you could change outfits. Like, it's kind of a cool game, but I got, like, nerfed.
All right. Well, we're going to transition.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen. Those of you not familiar, we have a tradition. Every single guest on the stream closes the night playing a game, NARC. It's this bargain bin game for the NES system. I'm going to get it up and running for you. We're playing this on the original NES controller hardware, so it's the crippler, the anti-ergonomic, breaks your wrists and your thumbs. There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm in for the break.
Are you ready for this? All right, before you start... I'm going to read you the game description because I was in Destin and I found an original copy of the game cartridge plus the manual.
Am I a NARC?
No, you are, well, I guess, maybe. So I'll tell you who you are. You are Max Force. Your mission, bust Mr. Big and destroy his dreaded criminal empire. Seize all contraband, stolen money, illegal weapons, and use rockets, high-powered machine guns. Apprehend all suspects, protect the innocent, and punish the guilty. Stop at nothing. So your goal is to win the war on drugs.
And just say no. Okay, kids. No, after our discussion of how psychedelics will revolutionize psychiatry, say no.
Before you press start, I'm going to pop the timer up on the screen.
So I can win this puppy.
Oh, yeah, you will win. We have
Game
Genie. This is, you're going to win. You have infinite bullets, infinite rockets. Now, the only thing is, how long does it take you to win this game? So go ahead and press start, and I will click the go button. Do you want to see your clock or no?
Yeah, let's see the clock.
Okay.
I gotta beat
for a good time. You're shooting for about
Nathan Kroc. This one's for you.
You're shooting for 20 minutes on this timer. All right, note you have to do this while asking questions. I gave Justin some instructions, but A to shoot bullets, tap A to shoot rockets, B to squat, hold B to hold
rockets are too hard.
Tap B to jump. You need rockets later, but you're walking right.
You need rockets. Oh, the door.
Yep. In fact, you'll have to do a jump rocket later, so it might be worth
Shut up. No.
That's the final boss. That's what's gonna Samuel. It's this game. Yes, Samuel, welcome back. This is every single guest plays this. I have like 60 times from guests across different departments, and we can judge them accordingly. No pressure,
this
Justin.
Will relate to our funding.
I mean,
my god, a dog? What the heck?
You're going right. Go through the door.
How do I kill the dog?
Sorry, this time will be in your 10-year package. So heads up.
Oh, I got eaten alive by the puppy.
All right, catching up on a few. Huggy Bear wants to know similar question for Brave New World: learning while sleeping. How do you feel about learning while sleeping?
I'm not for it.
Just not for it, or it's not possible.
I don't know. I mean, how are you supposed to learn while you're asleep?
Yeah. Can you write neural pathways while sleeping?
Well, I'm a believer in the multi-scalar hierarchy of your body and your brain. So maybe it's getting in there at some real microcellular level or something. But, I feel like it has to pass through consciousness. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you were like encoding this stuff in your dreams weirdly or something, like, yeah, maybe that's possible. I don't know.
So
I wouldn't like bet your short time on this planet. I would not be like,
I'm gonna listen.
I would not be banking on it. You know what I mean?
To be fair, you're sleeping, so what do you have to lose? Maybe it disrupts sleep if you listen to Spanish.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah.
Through the door.
Oh my God. Chemicals.
Yeah, no, this is a heroin lab. That's what all heroin labs
wow,
look
this
like.
is a lot of heroin.
You know, blue heroin, red heroin.
Yeah, we got all the good
colors
ones.
of heroin. So you're gonna shoot those.
Oh my god, can you even kill the dog?
So if you hold both buttons, you can shoot them and they'll turn into little dogs. There you go.
Oh, it's a little puppy.
And so you're gonna shoot the guys wearing black at close range with bullets.
Wait, how do I? Can I get out of this?
Yeah, there you go. Blue card. Grab that thing.
Oh, and then
Grab it. Hitbox. Through the.
Oh, and I put it in the.
Yeah, no, it's realistic.
Yeah, you gotta have the key card to get it. You gotta murder the guy with the key card.
All right, and they just drop it spontaneously. All right, JTP 23 wants to know: do you think your research could potentially result in a device that stimulates the brain in such a way to increase the brain's ability to memorize information?
Oh my god! I mean, yeah, that is like the dream.
Yeah.
That is like actually the dream.
But is it realistic?
Is it realistic? I mean, one day.
If you're an NSF program officer reading Justin's proposal, the answer is absolutely yes. 100% certain with his research, yes.
Yeah, so NSF is the
jump in the car, stay at the bottom.
Yeah.
Let's tap B.
Do I have to jump into it?
Yep, tap B. Faster tap. There you go.
Wow, I mean, who
down,
even has...
down, bottom of the screen. There you go. And that's as far as you're getting. No.
Otherwise, I immediately die. Wow, I feel like I got all the...
Yeah, no, you got some speed run. You got some time.
But yeah, one day, I imagine we'll use brainstem for, like, fun and stuff. I don't know. I think right now, we definitely do not have that. I mean, I have tried a lot of these brain stimulation techniques on myself, you know, to like... You know, as a good scientist, you got to experience it from the inside. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I tried.
Jump.
I have to jump.
Yep.
Yeah, so I tried like the depression treatment target on myself, and yeah, it was pretty fun. I had a good time. I was like, me and my research assistant, we like pulsed each other in lateral prefrontal cortex with like this activating the brain stimulation, pattern. And yeah, it kind of worked. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go back to lab, and I think I need a break.
Yeah.
And I ran to a friend, and we went and got tea.
That's awesome.
And it was kind of fun, and it was like, it's also the hub of like working memory and abstract cognition.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely got worse at more complex thinking. But yeah, I had a great time having some tea.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. I mean, I don't know if that's the exact mechanism, but
yeah,
I
mean, whatever makes you happy, right?
I think I definitely don't think that is the actual mechanism. I think it's a complex. So I do have to like kill some things.
I mean, so how much of that is like you've differentiated between placebic and like real outcomes?
Yeah, so then I tried the right DLPFC, the dorsal lateral prefrontal cortex on the other side, which is not linked to.
And you can go up to the top. We'll buy you a little bit extra room. All right, now you keep going.
Thank you for the pro tips here.
No problem.
I don't know if I've earned this time though.
Oh no, I tell everyone. I coach everyone through this.
This one doesn't count.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tried the right prefrontal cortex, and that one sucked. I literally kind of had like a panic attack. I like went and got some Chinese food, and I was just like sitting there alone at a table, just like feeling literal existential dread for no reason. And so it was kind of this like left-right hemisphere thing, which is a little bit of a taboo in the neuroscience. In the neurosciences, like we're supposed to think, oh, there's the hemispheric distinction thing is a lie. That's some old poppycock from the folk psychology.
You go all the way to the end.
Oh, nice. But there's clearly something to it, and we're treating depression by stimulating the left hemisphere. And I think it's fun talking to some of these clinicians who like treat people with brainstem. And this isn't really like scientifically validated in the sense that they've done these massive clinical trials, but you hear people talk about, you stimulate the left hemisphere to make people feel better, but then sometimes you might get a little manic, and so then you start stimulating the right hemisphere to like cancel out the mania, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I feel like there really is something interesting going on here. And it's just like early days in us like kind of knowing or like really getting what's happening.
All right, you're going to go to the right and pick up a white card and then go through the door to the top. But don't go too far up or you'll re-enter the door. So you want to go high enough, so pick up the card, go through the door, but stop pressing up, go left.
Ooh.
Silver card right there. You just saved yourself like 15 seconds. All right, Samuel, I'll answer your
3
question.
minutes.
I'll answer your question first. Have you speedrun this game? Yes, I have. I'm the former world record holder in speedrunning this game, actually. It started as a joke. I committed scientific method. I figured out a glitch on the boss, and I saved 28 seconds.
Oh
so
my
I was
God.
the former world record holder on this game at 9 minutes and 7 seconds. So that's why I forced it.
Well, so you would have already been done in like a minute here.
No, yeah, pretty close. You're not doing bad. So this is the only one you're going to go left, and you're going to shoot these Rambo-looking guys, but at close range. So don't shoot them at that side of the screen. Let them come closer before you kill them, because one will drop a green card.
A green
So
card.
kill the white guy.
Let me into the country.
There it is. Green card. Door to the left. You are good. That's some good RNG right there. All right, Misadventures has a question. Do we have too much pressure in society to try to maximize our brain output, as it might be unhealthy? This is something I've discussed fairly recently and something I'm very frustrated with in our jobs right now.
Yeah.
50 years ago, they had time to think. Like, they didn't have constant emails. They didn't have, constant response to students. It was like you could just think, and we can't do that, and it sucks. But anyway, Justin, what's your...
Yeah, no, I
Do we have
agree.
too much pressure to maximize our brain's outputs?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a faculty or a meeting with a couple of my mentors, and they were like, "Oh, back in the day, back when we became professors, it was called like life of the mind."
Yeah.
Where your job was like you're just a thinker, and you're here to be like an intellectual and just think the deep thoughts. But nowadays you got to like market yourself like I'm the delta beta oscillations guy who loves cognitive control, and you need to have like a brand, and you got to market yourself, and there's like all this reality of like the funding situation and all that jazz.
Yep.
I'm trying to keep the dream alive. I have a YouTube channel on quantum consciousness. Like I'm just trying to like just do it all and just kind of be myself and try not to make too many sacrifices intellectually. Like,
Yeah.
if I wanted to make money, I would go get a tech job.
Yeah.
I'm here to like, do crazy stuff. And like, what I tell my trainees is,
You have that card.
if your research was directly marketable into a product for a company, you should just go into industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like the point of a professor and like being in academia is you're supposed to just try things out that are not really marketable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a classic example, which is not me giving this example, but Albert Einstein had this paper published in a no-name journal. This might be like sacrilege or something, but or like a false thing. But so he published this paper, and it was like, coherent photon beams out of a crystal or something, right? And that became the basis of the modern laser.
Yep.
And it was just kind of like a random dumb publication, and maybe his mentor was saying, what the heck do you care about crystals and coherent photon beams? Like, what the heck are you wasting your time on? And then it's like the birth of all of modern technology.
Yeah.
So I kind of imagine that like the role of an academic or a faculty member is you're supposed to think the thoughts that are outside of funding like possibility. Like,
Yeah.
like we're kind of supposed to be like the weird like hermit monk people that like sit on the mountain and care about things that no one else cares about. And maybe 1 out of 1,000 of us will like invent laser beams, or like quantum computers or soul transfer devices or whatever.
No, I have the same lens into this, and it's one of those things like you can think about projects that are going to be quarterly gains, which is what industry and like companies think about. Like, how can I make a profit short term? But like most research is not going to be useful for 10 to 50 years. And it's that what you're looking for. Like, those are the things that actually change society, not just make a little widget that does something different. It's something big. So heads up, you got to shoot the guy in the wheelchair with a rocket. So
Oh my
brand
god.
new sentence. It's okay. He's a drug lord.
Okay, I was gonna say we're
So you have
shooting
to
wheelchair people now.
Top A. Yep, tap A. There you go. Yep. So wheelchair guys.
Did I get him?
Fine.
Oh, I got the other guys with the rocket.
So tapping A, press a little less hard. You don't have to press the button all the way down. There you go.
Oh, it's about grace. It's about grace.
Oh yeah, no, there's elegance behind NARC.
The elegance.
You gotta
the elegance of NARC.
finesse to win the war on drugs.
Oh man, I'm one of the bad guys.
Misadventures
Are we one
in
of the
Astro?
baddies?
I think this game is a form of personality test. Are you a psychopath?
I know. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not doing
he's the
that
good guy. He's the DEA agent. He's trying to win the war on drugs. According to, did you have to do the DARE program? You were.
Yeah. No, I did. Okay. Yeah.
So
And they just really freak you out. I mean, what the heck was that?
Well, the problem, and you've seen the research on this, presumably, right? Where they said DARE actually increases the prevalence of drug use. And the
because it exposes you to these ideas you've never heard of before in your life.
Not just exposes you, but exposes you in a misleading way where it's like marijuana is the same as heroin. And then you try weed and you're like, well, heroin can't be that bad.
Yeah, you're like, well, I've already...
Deep.
Did you know I've actually done marijuana?
Exactly.
I've actually done it all.
Learned so many names of drugs from DARE.
Wait, I killed the wheelchair guy. He's back?
Yep, 3 times.
Shut up.
Classic Nintendo rules. He finds another wheelchair and he gets back up.
Okay, so when you sped run this, did you do this in
Oh yeah, this is how I figured out the record, actually, is if you despawn him off screen, he respawns quicker, so you don't have to wait for him to come back. Yeah, I dove deep because a challenge from Twitch chat, actually. So, wow. Twitch chat, that victory is for you, actually. And then I told the former world record holder the strategy, and he beat my record by 3 seconds. So, I deserve it. All right, Huggy Beer, shooting puppies, clowns, and people in wheelchairs. You're trying to tell us this is a good guy?
Right. What the heck is going on? We're shooting little puppies and wheelchair people.
Cuddle puppy sociopath.
Well, you know, in a way, this is a good metaphor for the war on drugs. Okay, it's just murdering puppies and people in wheelchairs.
It's not even a metaphor. This is just literal war on drugs manifest in video game form.
Dude, I'm gonna be stuck here for 20 minutes.
Rocket guys. Well, the next one's gonna be a little challenging, so we'll see.
It's more challenging than this guy. I feel like these other guys are just distracting me.
So Samuel animates. Oh, so the new number 1 is the same run, just speedier. Yes, they just did it 3 seconds faster than I did using my strategies. So yeah, and I could theoretically.
Okay, and then why did you not then
come back? Come on. I have a 4 and a 7-year-old, and when they go off to college, I promise I'll speedrun every night, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on, I got you. Oh yeah, I nailed it. Okay, I kind of
stand right there, and he'll drop a gold card from his rotting corpse, and then
his weird little
up the card. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 10 minutes left. If you have questions for Justin Riddle, he's happy to answer them. We talked about a lot of things: consciousness, self-awareness, like controlling the mind thoughts. Penrose, we've done a journey tonight. Anything electrical signals and how it influences the brain, or how electrical signals manifest as decision making. Huggy Beer is redeemed to request a factoid, but I'm going to walk you through this first. Go to the top of the screen. You're going to have to jump and rocket him in the hat.
Oh, this is the bad guy.
That's the funnel. So you want to be at the top so his tongues don't hit you. Those are his tongues, because that's what makes sense in the war on drugs.
My God, of course.
So you can go to the right, walk away from him a good distance, turn around, stop moving, jump, shoot on the way down. You'll hit him in the hat with a rocket.
And then I'll coach you. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's a jump rocket to the hat.
Okay, so I'm getting away from his
turn
tongues.
Around. So jump. So tap B. Lighter touch, and then on the way down, you'll tap A.
On the way down.
Yes, exactly. So when you're at the peak, tap A. I apologize.
No, this is perfect.
You agreed to this.
It's a big international.
All right, while Justin tries to do this, you also need to deliver a factoid to the audience.
All right, this is for the lovers of media.
You could change.
Well, I'll do my my famous family.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay, this one is just, it sounds like a flex, but this is just like LA life, okay? This is the LA lifestyle. Okay, so I gotta even like read this. I gotta like sit down and think about this. My like grandma's cousin, okay, is...
Go to the top of the screen.
Go to the top of the screen.
There. The tongues can't hear you.
Oh. So okay, my grandma's cousin is...
Just tap. There you go. Then tap on the way down.
I gotta tap and then on the way down.
So don't press
oh my
the button
god,
all the way down.
To think about multiple things.
It's fine. Factoid.
I'll figure it out. Okay, my grandma's cousin is like Tyler Durden's boss in Fight Club. Okay,
That's fun.
that guy. That can I have this in cornflower blue? That man. I met that guy. His name is Zach Grenier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
He was
my.
not like the character he portrayed.
Yeah, I just met him at like a Thanksgiving thing.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know. But yeah, it's kind of like a LA thing. And then my other cousin, or he's like my grandma's cousin's son. I mean, this is just like the level of separation here. But he dated Kirsten Bell for a time, and I met her. She like came to my house. It was kind of before she was like that famous. And then his new wife is this chick, Ashley Williams, and then her sister married Brad Paisley, like the country singer.
Wait, are you from LA?
Yeah, so I grew up in like Los Angeles. Yeah,
Oh,
and so
holy shit.
yeah, one of the things is like everyone has like a family member in the biz, you know?
Yeah. So I went to
So-
grad school at University of Southern California.
Oh my
So
god!
we overlapped several times. Not
Wow,
temporally.
we're in
That's
we're in
crazy.
the zone.
Yeah, the number of celebrities at the airport in LAX, like,
Yeah.
like it happens. I also know the chemist that ran the labs at FSU. He was the consultant on Breaking Bad in terms of the chemistry behind it. So yeah, everyone gets a story when you go to LA. It's this
It is
horrible.
so freaking annoying.
Yeah. So don't push the button all the way down. Just
I know.
tap,
Every
tap.
time I jump successfully, I get excited.
There you go. And wait a little bit longer on the A. Cuddle Puppy, I wonder how many more guests you would get if you didn't force people to play NARC. So that's the secret. Cuddle
Seriously,
Puppy.
what the hell is this?
So Cuddle Puppy, I don't tell them they play NARC until they've agreed to be a guest.
Yeah, this
So
is
the order of
like
operations.
yesterday.
I'm like, hey, Justin, you're gonna play NARC. Are you okay with it? You can't say no because the
That's true.
implications.
That's true.
Like,
That's
it's
true.
just you have to do it.
It's a good surprise, you know. Sometimes you gotta join the enemy to understand the enemy.
But your time's not bad. You're at 19 minutes right
Well, yeah, but I have 6 minutes to kill this guy. Is this the
So
only
this
thing?
is the hard step, is the hat. Once you get the hat done, the rest is relatively quickly. That should be a legal disclaimer since this game is cruel and unusual punishment. We'll see. When you get it, though, it's pretty satisfying. A little later
I got
on
a
the
couple of
tab.
them. Oh, I thought that was the noise of me shooting it. No, that was his tongue hitting my body.
Yep. I'm sorry, Justin. I apologize. All right, what other questions do I have? We got to do one more for
All
sure.
right.
Unlimited resources, no moral qualms. What research study would you do?
No moral qualms.
Yes.
I don't know if I can like morally remove the moral qualms.
We're asking you to for this question. Like anything, experiment on humans. So Sarah Hart's answer was, I want to generate a whole bunch of twins and separate them.
Oh, that's
That's a good
dark.
study. Like quintuplets, let's do it.
I got
Oh,
him. I
there
got
it
his
is.
head.
Okay, walk away. You're going to rocket him in the face.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
So yep, just normal rockets. There you go. Okay, and now you're going to move down to this portion and you're going to shoot bullets instead of rockets. So
Why am
be
I
down
so
here.
good at?
You can't be top. You got to be down like here. And then you're going to shoot bullets and walk that way. Shoot bullets and move up and down while you're shooting bullets, and it'll take care of the vertebrae.
Oh, nice. Okay, okay. Yeah, I would get a lot of people with psychiatric illness and understand their belief structures. I have this kind of like wild theory that psychiatric illness is somehow related to like people's belief systems and stuff. And so
Yeah.
like if I was going pure amoral, I would like fully manipulate people's belief structures from birth and just like get people that had like wildly different worldviews. You know what I mean?
I mean, but there's like sociological
like-
studies that people that are more susceptible to influence have conspiracy theories. Like, is it nurture or is it nature in that case, right? Like, are they susceptible or do they make them susceptible?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just live in this freaking weird universe where like reality like doesn't make sense to us, and we're all just kind of like thrown into life, and here we are trying to just operate and make the best of it. But like, I don't think anyone really like. Oh, can I undo my name?
Yeah, rub.
Oh, you gotta do the rub. You know, I feel like we're all just in the mystery here.
Yeah. That's fair. All right, Misadventure has a question. We have 3 minutes left. I recall hearing the idea that people could be exposed to high-level magnetic fields and it may cause them to hallucinate.
Yeah, I would love to try that. I don't know.
I wish we could ask.
We should go to the mag lab. We go to the mag lab,
right? Like, how did the floating frog feel as that field was induced? They actually got in trouble for that because they didn't get IRB approval.
Okay, I remember seeing that video online. Was that from
it was
here?
a viral. Yeah, that was from the mag lab. It was a viral video.
Wow,
They didn't get approval.
I've literally seen that. Oh my god,
Samuel! Oh my god, I hate that finger. That's fair. Of the things you can hate in NARC, the finger is one of those things.
Oh, the little gnarly finger there.
Well, congratulations, 21 minutes and 6 seconds. So you want to know what Nathan? Let's see what Nathan got.
Yeah, my neighbor / landlord. I'm trying to beat him. That's the.
Oh, what is that? Don't open that. All right.
That's the real goal here.
Nathan, landlord. He's the facility owner.
Yeah, it's the facility owner.
Nathan Kroc. Where is Nathan Kroc?
1722.
Oh, yeah, you got wrecked.
My God,
I mean, to be fair, he's in scientific computing, so it's not bad though. Like 21.
Wow, someone got 10 minutes.
Well, that was me, so that's not even fair. Yeah, like I think top time 1735 was Alex Robb, 1702 Rob Lazenby. So I think that's the fastest right now of non-me guests. So,
well, if you have me again, I will clearly crush my own record.
Lucky for you, there's a 30-minute YouTube tutorial that I've written for this, and I tell you exactly how to beat my record. So if you want to do it next time, you can absolutely do so.
Okay, question. Is this literally the entire game that I just played?
Yes, that is it.
Where, like, back in the day, this would have been the entire game.
Yeah, but to be fair, you only get 3 lives.
Oh, so, like, no one ever got to Mr. Big Head.
I mean, unless you had Game Genie, it's pretty hard. So, yeah. No, it's a challenging game, but once you see the tutorial, you see how literally you pick a path and walk the entire levels. So, all right. Man, that's 3 hours.
All right, well, cheers. This was a lot of fun. Thank you all in the crowd.
That is it. Any parting words for the audience? Any profound wisdom you want to impart before we leave after 3 drinks of bourbon?
Life is meaningful. You are real. Your choices matter. Go out there and do something.
Until we do Eastham and change your choices.
Until we do Eastham and change your choices. Fair enough.
All right. Huggy Beer, thank you for joining us. Misadventure, pleasure. Samuel, thank you for Schmonite. Thank you for joining us, showing up late. Holy BF Skinner, absolutely. So reality is confirmed, not a simulation.
Not a simulation.
So we're making
Cuddle
a declaration
puppy,
here.
Huggy Bear.
It is.
You're really out there. I believe that you're out there.
Is that not my chat code for next guest? Why is that not working? There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Our next stream will be in 2 weeks exactly. So February 21st, our guest will be Adam Dewan, who you probably know better than I do.
Yeah,
I have the list of sensory neuroscience, olfactory perception, the sense of smell and how that relates to neural pathways, as well as genetic tractability. I don't know if you want to add anything on top of that, but
yeah, he's a really cool guy. He works a couple doors down from me. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I met him because I'm on one of his undergrad's thesis committees, and so I learned about some of his olfactory sensing stuff.
Sweet.
So
yeah,
pretty fun on that front. But
olfactory space.
If you guys have any suggestions on people we should raid, please throw them in chat now. I probably should have asked like 5 minutes ago, but so it goes. But anyway, yeah, it's been a pleasure. Justin, it's been great having you on. It's fun. I'm sorry Pokemon didn't work. I don't know what happened on that front.
Oh, it's fine. No, it was really fun being here. Thanks for hosting me.
You got some Halo 2 in. You got to play some Animal Crossing, a little bit of Smash. You did well.
Yeah, I felt like I was doing good at Smash. That was fun.
Ultimately, you won the war on drugs. So we're gonna call this a victory.
Oh man! All right. So don't fight drugs. Accept them. Okay, bye.
That's fair. All right, 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have Adam on. He'll talk about olfactory and sensing and things like that. So yeah, join us, and it's always a pleasure. You guys make the stream amazing. We have a lot of fun. I mean, we'd hang out alone, but the questions really take us on unique adventures, so we really appreciate it. So stick around. We're gonna raid someone educational related streamer, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.